Chapter 1330. However, no matter how dissatisfied Lu Zheng was, Qin Feiyang did not have time to deal with him. Inside the ancient pagoda, Qin Feiyang stood above the village and shouted, "All combat emperors, gather here!" Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, many figures flew out from the village and landed in front of Qin Feiyang. They said respectfully, "Greetings, young lord." Qin Feiyang nodded and led everyone to appear above the herb field. He said, "Go and help. Don't hurt the roots." So many herbs? Everyone was dumbfounded. The herb field that Lu Hong had built outside the village had already surprised them. However, the herb field in front of them was dozens or even hundreds of times bigger than the one that Lu Hong had built. This was too shocking. Whoosh! Immediately after, everyone spread out and rushed into the herb field excitedly. They started to sweep the herbs crazily. Qin Feiyang stood above the herb field and paid attention to the situation around the herb field. At the same time, Gongsun Bei led the 3 deputy pavilion masters and successfully entered the sacred mountain. After all, the 3 deputy pavilion masters were false gods, and they had deliberately hidden their auras. It was difficult for ordinary people to discover them. Gongsun Bei flew to a mountain top and stood at the edge of the cliff. He pointed at the 10 giant peaks and said to the 3 deputy pavilion masters, "The Mu clan's 1-star and 7-star combat emperors are in those 10 giant peaks." "How many are there?" the deputy pavilion master asked. Gongsun Bei said, "I haven't counted, so I'm not sure. I estimate that there should be more than 100,000. It doesn't matter if there are more than 1-star to 7-star combat emperors." The deputy pavilion master smiled disdainfully. He raised his head and looked at the stone towers on top of the 10 peaks. He asked, "That's our target this time?" "That's right. Qin Feiyang and I have done a preliminary calculation. In the 10 stone pagodas, there are 3,508-star combat emperors, 1,009-star combat emperors, and 509-star combat emperors." Gongsun Bei said in a low voice. When the 3 deputy pavilion masters heard this, their faces darkened. She never thought that the Mu family would have so many hidden experts. If this wasn't discovered in advance, it would be a disaster for their main pagoda when they go to war with the Mu family in the future. "The 3 of you, we have to kill them as soon as possible, because we don't know if the Mu family still has any false gods." Gongsun Bei looked at the 3 of them with a serious expression. "Who?" The 3 vice pavilion masters looked at each other and exhaled deeply at the same time. Following closely, the 3 of them soared into the air, their eyes filled with killing intent. Boom! That terrifying divine might suddenly roared out from their bodies. The 3 of them waved their hands. Surges of pseudo-god realm force surged out like a tide, turning into a huge wave that engulfed the sky as it surged toward the 10 stone towers. What happened? As soon as the 3 people's divine might appeared, it immediately alarmed everyone in the holy mountain. One figure after another flew out from the cave abodes on the 10 giant mountains. They were the 1-star and 7-star combat emperors. His face was filled with bewilderment. However, when they saw the 3 vice pavilion masters standing in the sky, as well as the fake god force rushing toward the 10 stone towers, their expressions changed. Boom! Crack! How terrifying was the fake god realm force! The fake god force was earth-shattering as it blasted toward the first stone tower. Without any suspense, the stone tower was instantly shattered. None of the people inside were spared as they died on the spot. Following closely, the fake god force rushed toward the second stone tower. Its speed was as fast as lightning. In less than half a blink of an eye, the second stone tower was also shattered. Even a peak 9-star combat emperor realm expert could not resist and was crushed into pieces by the false god's power. Not even his bones were left behind. Has it finally begun? Above the herb field, Qin Feiyang looked toward the direction of the holy mountain. His eyes flashed as he lowered his head to scan the herb field. Although the herb field was huge, there were thousands of combat emperors in the village. In addition, Dan Wangkai, Wolf King, and other beasts, it would not take long. At this moment, more than half of the herb field had been swept clean. In the blink of an eye, boom! The 3 pavilion masters had already destroyed the 8th stone pagoda with their faux god power. During this period, the people inside the stone tower also ran out after hearing the news. However, without exception, before they could run out of the stone tower, they were turned into ashes with the stone tower. Who are those three people? They actually dare to make a move on the holy mountain? The commotion on the holy mountain also alarmed the people in the city. People rose into the air and looked at the holy mountain, their faces full of surprise. Because the distance was too far, and the three vice pavilion masters had their backs to the city, people could not see their true faces. But they could clearly feel the divine might of the three people. The divine might was rolling, as if the gods had descended, making them feel despair. Boom! The ninth pagoda shattered into pieces with a deafening explosion. The people who had just run out did not have time to see the true faces of the three vice pavilion masters before they were annihilated with the stone tower. Bastard! All of a sudden, an angry roar resounded through the sky. Immediately after, the Mu family patriarch descended from the sky. But when he saw that it was the three vice pavilion masters, his face was full of surprise as he roared, "How did you get in?" Just in time. The vice pavilion master smiled coldly. With a wave of his big hand, a terrifying pressure rushed toward the Mu family patriarch. The Mu family patriarch saw that the situation was not good and quickly turned to escape. But he was just a 9-star combat emperor. How could he escape from the vice pavilion master? The pressure rolled out and directly imprisoned him in the void. "What are you doing?" The Mu family patriarch roared in shock and anger. "Isn't it obvious?" The vice pavilion master smiled coldly and his 5 fingers closed. The pressure was like an invisible big hand, firmly grasping the Mu family patriarch. The Mu family patriarch immediately flew toward the 3 people uncontrollably. "Head pavilion master, you've gone too far." At the same time, the people in the 10th stone tower rushed out one after another, staring at the 3 vice pavilion masters and roaring. "You still have the nerve to say that we've gone too far? My head pavilion master has always valued peace and has never taken the initiative to provoke the Mu family. But what about you? Not only did you steal the pill fire from the 9 areas behind our backs, but you also planted spies in my head pavilion master and even tried to steal the divine crystal. Tell me, who's the one who's gone too far?" The vice pavilion master roared. The power of the false god flooded the sky, like a tsunami, rushing toward the 10th stone tower. "Run!" The Mu family patriarch roared anxiously. There was no need for him to remind them. The people in the 10th stone tower had already fled as soon as the vice pavilion master spoke. Among them, there were also dozens of 9-star combat emperor super experts. But in the face of the power of the false god, these super experts did not even have the slightest courage to fight. Although the false god was not a real war god, it was still half a war god. It was no exaggeration to say that in front of the false god, not to mention dozens of super experts, even hundreds or thousands of them were like ants, unable to withstand a single blow. However, although they desperately fled, in the end, they were not spared. The power of the false god, with a destructive aura, crushed with irresistible force. Crack! Ah! The stone tower was instantly shattered. At the same time, accompanied by a series of desperate screams, those who were fleeing died one after another, blood staining the vast sky. At this point, the 10 stone towers had all been destroyed. Not a single person was left inside, completely wiped out, and the whole process took less than 10 breaths. This also proved how terrifying the strength of the false god was. Killing a 9-star combat emperor was as easy as slaughtering a dog. Look at the Mu family patriarch. In less than 10 breaths, he had lost so many experts. Such a heavy loss made him directly enter a state of madness, his eyes bloodshot. Because the people in these 10 stone towers were the strongest battle strength of the Mu family. In order to cultivate these people, the Mu family had consumed more than half of their resources and efforts. However, in such a short period of time, all of them had lost their lives. To the Mu family, this was simply a fatal blow. "I won't let you go. Today, none of you will leave here alive," he muttered to himself, and suddenly a monstrous aura rose from his body, and he shouted hysterically, go and ask Elder Feng to come out. Elder Feng? The vice pavilion master and the other two were surprised. Below, Gongsun Bei also frowned. But suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something, and his body trembled. He quickly flew up into the sky and landed in front of the vice pavilion master and the other two, and said in surprise, "It can't be Mu Chang Feng, right?" Mu Chang Feng. Hearing this name, the vice pavilion master and the other two's eyes trembled slightly, and their faces were full of fear. Mu Chang Feng and Mu Chang Yuan were false gods at the same time. Now that Mu Chang Yuan has stepped into the peak of the false god realm, if Mu Chang Feng didn't die, then his current strength is definitely not worse than Mu Chang Yuan. But why hasn't there been any news of him in the past 10,000 years? A black-clothed old man next to the vice pavilion master said in a deep voice, "Because Elder Feng has been in seclusion to break through to the war god realm. He is also the most promising person in our Mu family to successfully break through to the war god realm." The Mu family patriarch laughed sinisterly. "What?" The black-clothed old man's face changed, and he said, "I thought his time was up, but I didn't expect him to be in seclusion to break through to the war god realm." At the same time, he glanced at the sacred mountain below and shouted, "Leave immediately!" Whoosh! After that, the black-clothed old man waved his sleeve and swept Gongsun Bei and the Mu family patriarch up. The vice pavilion master and another old man followed closely behind. Gongsun Bei hurriedly said, "Where is Qin Feiyang? Should we leave him alone?" "What? Qin Feiyang is also here?" The Mu family patriarch was shocked and angry, but no one answered him. The black-clothed old man glanced at Gongsun Bei and said in a deep voice, "I have seen Mu Chang Feng in the past, and I know very well how terrifying his strength is. If we don't leave in time, I'm afraid we will all die here. So now we can't care about Qin Feiyang. Let him fend for himself here." He looked indifferent, and after he finished speaking, he looked up at the void above. Although he can't see the divine barrier as a false god, he can clearly sense its location. Boom! It was also at this time. A terrifying divine might erupted from the depths of the holy mountain below. As soon as this divine might appeared, the entire city trembled. "Welcome, Elder Feng." The Mu family's 1-star to 7-star war emperors all knelt in the void at this moment, as if they were on a pilgrimage, and their expressions were incomparably sincere. Chapter 1331. The divine aura spread in all directions, shaking the heavens. Even Qin Feiyang and the others who were far away in the herbal field felt as if they were there. They couldn't help but feel fear and awe. Whoosh! Accompanied by 2 whistling sounds, Dan Wangkai and the white-eyed wolf arrived and landed in front of Qin Feiyang. Excitement and bewilderment coexisted between the man and the wolf's expressions. The reason for their excitement was naturally the herbs in the herbal field. The surprise was because of the divine aura. The white-eyed wolf looked at the direction of the sacred mountain and said in a deep voice, "The Mu family is still hiding a false god." Dan Wangkai said, "And judging from the aura, it is at least at the same level as the old man in white. Could it be the person that the mysterious lady mentioned?" The white-eyed wolf was surprised. "It should be him," Qin Feiyang said. "Then what should we do now? A false god realm super overlord is no joke. If we are not careful, we will all be finished." Dan Wangkai said worriedly. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and said, "Let's go down and see the situation first. How's your harvest?" Speaking of this, the man and the wolf couldn't help but get excited. Dan Wangkai smiled and said, "I don't dare to say that there are a lot of herbs, but at least it will be enough for us to squander for a few hundred years. In other words, we don't need to look for herbs in these few hundred years." "A few hundred years," Qin Feiyang murmured and shook his head with a smile. "You're wrong." "What's wrong?" Dan Wangkai was stunned and looked at him in confusion. "You only counted the people so far. Don't forget, there will be Yin Wei's people in the future," Qin Feiyang said with a smile. Dan Wangkai was stunned and then smiled bitterly. "Yin Wei's people, there are more than 1,000,000 of them. The number of herbs needed is not small. Actually, even if we include Yin Wei's clansmen, it won't be a big problem. After all, the most commonly used pills are grade 1 and grade 2 pills, such as body-tempering pills, chi-gathering pills, and healing pills. As for the herbs here, they are basically the most precious ones. Even the herbs for the battle chi pill are very rare. When the time comes, we can casually take a few potential pills or Juku yellow dragon pills and sell them. It will be enough for us to buy a large amount of medicinal ingredients for grade 1 and grade 2 medicinal pills. The white-eyed wolf grinned. That makes sense. Qin Feiyang nodded. Whoosh. At this moment, the pangolin beasts, black dragon snakes, and the thousands of combat emperors in the village all returned one after another. They all looked like they were bathing in the spring breeze and were in high spirits. Are you done? Qin Feiyang glanced at everyone and asked with a smile. Not a single one is left. The two-winged snow eagle chuckled. All right then. You guys go and hand it over to Lu Hong and help her out while you're at it. Qin Feiyang instructed. After all, there were too many medicinal ingredients. If Lu Hong were to rely on herself, she would be too busy. Everyone nodded. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. After sending everyone to the ancient pagoda, he entered the ancient castle and quietly flew toward the sacred mountain. Qin Feiyang, I'll fight you to the death. Lu Zheng stared at Qin Feiyang aggressively. There were so many medicinal ingredients, and he didn't even give him a single one. He had never seen such an outrageous person. However, although he gritted his teeth, he didn't dare to make a move. Because, with his current strength, he was no match for Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang wasn't in the mood to care about him. While driving the ancient castle, he took out the image crystal and sent a message to Viper. Buzz. Viper's virtual image appeared very quickly. Have you found the fire Qilin? Qin Feiyang asked. No. Viper shook his head. There was a trace of irritation between his eyebrows. Now the Mu family is in a mess. No one will care about you, so don't worry. Take your time. But you have to be careful. A battle between fake gods is not child's play. If you're not careful, you'll die. Qin Feiyang warned. I know. Viper nodded. After saying that, the virtual image dissipated. At the same time, the deputy pavilion master and the other two sensed the divine power and their expressions changed. The old man in black roared, That's right. This is Mu Chongfeng's aura. I'm too familiar with it. I'll never forget it. This damn old bastard. So many years have passed and he's still alive. It's really like the old saying, good people don't live long, but scourges live for thousands of years. The other old man's face was gloomy. The deputy pavilion master shouted, Don't talk nonsense. Hurry up and break the divine power barrier. Boom. The three of them looked up at the sky, their eyes shining fiercely. The next moment, the power of the fake gods erupted like a volcano, turning into a torrent that blasted into the sky. Wherever it went, the void cracked crazily. Boom. Almost in the blink of an eye. The power of the fake gods blasted onto the divine power barrier. The divine power barrier that was originally hidden in the void immediately emerged, emitting a dazzling divine light. However, although the deputy pavilion master and the other two joined forces, the divine power barrier was unimaginably tough. It actually blocked the power of the three fake gods. Boom. The divine power below the sacred mountain grew stronger and stronger. The world trembled as if a peerless demon god was awakening. Put in more effort. The deputy pavilion master shouted, It's useless. This divine power barrier was jointly set up by Elder Feng and Elder Yun. Their cultivation has reached the peak of the fake god realm. Unless you're also peak fake god realm experts, you'll never be able to break this barrier. And inside this divine power barrier, there's no way to open a portal to the outside world. Right now, you're like turtles in a jar, unable to escape even if you have wings. Do you feel despair? Ha ha ha. This is the price you have to pay for provoking the Mu family. Just wait for your death. The Mu family's patriarch laughed, his face full of sarcasm. The deputy pavilion master and the other two looked at him fiercely. Their fake god power poured out unreservedly, crazily bombarding the divine power barrier. With a boom, the divine power barrier suddenly distorted. Seeing this, the deputy pavilion master and the other two, as well as Gong Sun Bei, stared closely at the divine power barrier. They were anxiously roaring in their hearts. However, although the divine power barrier was distorted, there was no sign of it cracking. It can't be broken even like this. Could it be that we can only wait for death? The deputy pavilion master murmured. But suddenly, he turned his head to look at Gongsun Bei and shouted, "Quickly send a message to Qin Feiyang and ask him to come and pick us up." Gongsun Bei quickly took out an image crystal. That little bastard really came. The Mu family's patriarch's eyes flashed with murderous intent as he sneered, "Are you scared out of your wits?" With Qin Feiyang's little bit of cultivation, how could he break this divine barrier? He still didn't know that Mu Yuan had been killed. Gongsun Bei ignored him and stared at the image crystal, roaring in his heart. "What are you doing? Hurry up and respond to me." However, Qin Feiyang's shadow didn't appear for a long time. Because now, he has already rushed to the holy mountain and can see several people, so there's no need to respond to Gongsun Bei. But, seeing that Qin Feiyang didn't respond for a long time, the deputy pavilion master's heart sank. This little bastard, he won't sell us out, right? The black-clothed man was furious and roared, "Bastard! We shouldn't have trusted him anymore." The other old man's face was also gloomy. But suddenly, his body shook as he looked up at the Mu family's patriarch and shouted, "Quickly look for his Chinquin bag. He's the patriarch of the Mu family. He must have the key to open the divine power barrier." Gongsun Bei quickly stepped forward and grabbed the Mujia's Chinquin bag. He lowered his head and searched for it. "Don't waste your time. Although I'm the patriarch of the Mu family, I'm only the patriarch in name. I don't have any real power at all. The real people in charge are the old ancestors. And the key to open the divine power barrier, besides Mu Yuan, only Elder Feng and Elder Yun have it." The Mu family's patriarch sneered. Of course, the deputy pavilion master and the other two didn't believe him and looked at Gongsun Bei anxiously. No. A few seconds later, Gongsun Bei's face turned pale as he looked up at the three and shook his head. Damn it! The three suddenly became annoyed. At this time, the divine power that rushed out from the ground has reached a level that's beyond their reach. It's even stronger than the peak of the pseudo-god realm, just half a step away from the real god of war. The deputy pavilion master and the other two panicked to the extreme. The divine power barrier can't be broken, and their only hope, Qin Feiyang, didn't come to pick them up. Could it be that they can only wait for death? Time flies and the sun flees. I didn't expect this retreat to last for more than 10,000 years. Suddenly, an old voice sounded from below. The voice was very ethereal, giving people a feeling of unreality. And in those words, there was a bit of loneliness, a bit of disappointment, and a bit of emotion. Elder Feng. As soon as he heard this voice, the Mu family's patriarch's body trembled with excitement, and his face was filled with ecstasy. But Gongsun Bei and the deputy pavilion master were terrified in their hearts. They looked down and saw a white-haired old man standing on the ground below. The old man's hands were behind his back, his body was straight, and his snow-white hair fluttered in the wind. He was like a god, exuding an otherworldly aura. He glanced at the surrounding mountains and rivers, as if he was immersed in his memories, and his eyes were a bit blurred. At this time, Qin Feiyang drove the ancient castle and also came to the sky above the holy mountain. The white-haired old man also immediately entered the scene. Is it him? Qin Feiyang's face immediately sank. This person's aura was too strong, and it gave him the feeling of a god of death. A very terrifying person. He should be on par with Grandpa. Lu Zheng said in a deep voice. What? Qin Feiyang's face was stunned, and he turned to look at Lu Zheng and said in surprise, Grandpa is so strong? Yes. Lu Zheng nodded. Qin Feiyang was dumbfounded. He didn't expect Grandpa to be so strong. But then, a burst of anger rose in his heart, and he said, since Grandpa is so strong, why didn't he come to help me and my mother all these years? Why are you angry? Do you understand the situation? Grandpa is a very sentimental person. You are Grandpa's biological grandson, and your mother is Grandpa's biological daughter. If he could help, would he not? Lu Zheng said angrily. What do you mean? Qin Feiyang frowned. Everyone has their own difficulties, and Grandpa is no exception. In short, remember, Grandpa has never forgotten you and your mother. Chapter 1332. Qin Feiyang looked deeply at Lu Zheng, then looked away and did not continue to ask. But in his heart, he really could not understand. What kind of difficulties would make a person not even care about his family? Outside, the atmosphere was extremely solemn. Gongsun Bei and the other two looked nervously at the white-haired old man, thinking of a way to escape. Thousands of years have passed. How many old friends are still alive? The white-haired old man sighed and looked up at the black-clothed old man and the other old man. We are old friends. But why do you have to kill us all? Old friends? The black-clothed old man sneered. Since you are old friends, why did your Mu family play tricks behind the scenes and steal the divine crystal and the heavenly star flame? There is a good saying, those who are able to live. The white-clothed old man said. What a joke. Back then, if my main tower did not take your Mu family in, would your Mu family be where it is today? Is this how you repay your benefactor? The black-clothed old man shouted. Took my Mu family in, the white-clothed old man murmured, as if thinking of something, and did not speak for a long time. You have nothing to say, right? Your Mu family is a white-eyed wolf. The black-clothed old man sneered. Shut up. The white-clothed old man shouted, and his temperament changed drastically. He felt that the black-clothed old man's words had crossed his bottom line. If you have the face to do it, why are you afraid of others talking about it? The black-clothed old man sneered. What do you know? What right do you have to talk big here? I can tell you that the Mu family being able to stay on the Forgotten Continent has nothing to do with your main tower. The white-clothed old man sneered. Ha ha. Hearing this, the black-clothed old man laughed as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. Without my main tower's permission, how could your Mu family have a foothold here? Don't think too highly of your main tower. This is purely a deal, the white-clothed old man said. A deal? The black-clothed old man was stunned. Gongsun Bei, the deputy tower master, and the other old man were also surprised. What deal? Inside the ancient castle, Qin Feiyang and the others also had suspicious looks on their faces. Didn't mysterious madam say that the Mu family has something on the chief pagoda master? Could it be that this weakness is related to the deal that this person mentioned? Lu Zheng suddenly said. Qin Feiyang thought about it and nodded. That's possible. Outside, the white-haired old man closed his eyes and took a deep breath. The anger on his face quickly disappeared. Immediately after, he opened his eyes and looked at the vice pavilion master and the others. He said indifferently, now that things have come to this, there's no point in saying anything more. Hearing this, the three vice pavilion masters immediately went into battle mode. Since ancient times, no one has ever dared to come to the Mu clan to cause trouble, let alone kill people. My Mu family is born to be the king. You dare to invade my Mu Jia's prestige. Even your main pagoda cannot forgive you. The white-robed old man's voice was very calm, and his expression was also very indifferent, but it gave people a great sense of danger. It felt like there's a peerless beast lurking in his body, baring its fangs and choosing people to eat. The vice pavilion master looked dignified and whispered, Gongsun Bei, go find Qin Feiyang. We'll hold him back. Can you guys do it? Gongsun Bei was worried. The vice pavilion master secretly said, although he's stronger than us, the three of us should be able to hold him back for a while. Well, you guys be careful. Gongsun Bei secretly exhorted before turning around and flying away. Don't even think about going anywhere. The white-robed old man took a step forward and walked up to the sky step by step. It felt like there was an invisible ladder under his feet. Every step was steady and powerful. The vice pavilion master was shocked and quickly grabbed the Mu family's patriarch. If you dare to move, I'll kill him. However, the white-robed old man turned a deaf ear. He didn't even look at the Mu family's patriarch. His eyes were cold and ruthless. It seems that we can't threaten him, do it? The vice pavilion master's heart sank as he shouted. The black-robed old man said, Don't move, look after the Mu family's patriarch. We'll test his strength first. Okay. The vice pavilion master nodded and immediately retreated with the Mu family's patriarch. Boom! The black-robed old man and the other old man looked at each other and burst out with divine power. They joined forces to kill the white-robed old man. Those who block the way, die. The white-robed old man looked at the two. His expression was still calm. He raised his hands and clapped towards the two. Who will live and who will die is still uncertain. The two roared. A fist blasted out. The power of the false god roared in all directions, shattering the void and shaking the sky. The Mu family's patriarch's face changed and shouted, "Elder Feng, you can't fight here. You'll hurt our family." "No one can hurt them." The white-robed old man was full of confidence. Boom! In an instant, the fist and palm collided. With the three of them as the center, a wave of destructive energy surged out in all directions. Crack! The void was like a mirror, crazily shattering. When the 1-star and 7-star combat emperors who were watching below saw this scene, their faces turned pale and they all fled for their lives. However, at this moment, the white-robed old man raised his hand and waved gently. A supreme power swept out in all directions, and the shocking battle wave instantly disappeared. What a powerful move! Elder Feng is indeed an invincible existence. Seeing this, the faces of the Mu family members were full of awe. Puff! At the same time, the black-robed old man and the other old man spat out a mouthful of blood. Their bodies flew out and their faces were slightly pale. However, this kind of injury was nothing to them. The black-robed old man said in a low voice, "It's not like we can't fight." The other old man nodded and took a healing pill. Divine power burst out from his body again. The black-robed old man's body shook and the power of the false god broke out from his body like a tide. The ground below shook at this moment. However, just as he was about to attack the white-robed old man again, he saw Gongsun Bei standing in the distance and looking at them worriedly. "Don't worry about us. We can hold them back. Let's go and find Qin Feiyang. We can only leave the Mu family if we find him," the black-robed old man secretly urged. Then, with the other old man, they charged toward the white-robed old man with a monstrous aura. Gongsun Bei quivered and came to his senses. He quickly turned around and flew toward the direction of the herb field. This was because he knew that Qin Feiyang would definitely not let go of the Mu family's herb field. He should be in the herb field now. "Don't go. I'm right next to you." However, at this moment, Qin Feiyang's voice rang in Gongsun Bei's mind. "Next to you?" Gongsun Bei was slightly stunned. He immediately stopped and said, "Then come out quickly and take us away from the Mu family. My subordinate hasn't returned yet, so I can't leave for now." Qin Feiyang said. He was referring to Viper. All this time, he had never called Viper by his real name in front of Gongsun Bei, including Dan Wangkai. Therefore, until now, Gongsun Bei still didn't know the true identity of Viper and Dan Wangkai. "How long do we have to wait?" Gongsun Bei frowned and was anxious. "When he comes back, I will take you away immediately. Don't worry. Judging from the current situation, the Deputy Pavilion Master's life won't be in danger," Qin Feiyang said. Gongsun Bei turned to look at the black-robed old man. Although it looked like what Qin Feiyang said, he couldn't help but worry. Whoosh! He turned into a stream of light and landed in front of the Deputy Pavilion Master and the Mu family's lord. Huh! Seeing Gongsun Bei coming back, the Deputy Pavilion Master was slightly stunned. "Didn't I ask you to find Qin Feiyang? He has been here for a long time, but he has been hiding in the castle," Gongsun Bei said. The Deputy Pavilion Master was shocked. Gongsun Bei said, "He is waiting for someone. When this person comes back, he will take us away." The Deputy Pavilion Master was relieved and immediately told the black-robed old man and the Mu family's lord. When the two heard this, their hearts that had been hanging in the air were finally put down. As long as Qin Feiyang didn't betray them, then everything would be fine. Without any worries, the two completely let go of their hands and feet and fought madly with the white-robed old man. The white-robed old man's means were indeed amazing. Although the fluctuations of the three's battle were enough to destroy the world, they couldn't hurt anyone from the Mu family. Something's not right. Inside the castle, Lu Zheng suddenly frowned. Qin Feiyang was taken aback and asked suspiciously, "What's wrong?" Although it's difficult to become a god, there are hundreds of peak 9-star combat emperors in the Mu family. There are so many peak 9-star combat emperors. But why are there only 3 false gods, Yiglao, the white-robed old man, and this person? Moreover, the white-robed old man and this person were already false gods 10,000 years ago. That is to say, in the past 10,000 years, the Mu family has only given birth to one false god, Yiglao? Do you think it's possible? Lu Zheng said. Hearing Lu Zheng's words, Qin Feiyang also felt a little strange. But, if the Mu family really had other false gods, why didn't they appear? One must know, this was not a trivial matter. It was related to the rise and fall of the Mu family. No matter who it was, they couldn't sit back and do nothing. Moreover, the white-haired old man was the strongest existence in the Mu family. Even he had come out. How could the other false gods be indifferent? After thinking about it, Qin Feiyang couldn't figure it out. In the end, he could only conclude that perhaps in the past 10,000 years, the Mu family really only gave birth to one false god, Yiglao. If that was the case, then it was naturally the best. Boom. Crack. The confrontation between the 3 false gods shook the world. In the void, the wind whistled, and the air rushed to the sky. The entire Mu family was watching this battle from a distance at this moment, and their eyes were full of hatred. This was hatred for the Master Tower, and also hatred for Qin Feiyang. Although Qin Feiyang hadn't shown up, now, they all knew that Qin Feiyang was also in the Mu family. Buzz. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang's image crystal rang. He quickly took out the image crystal and merged his battle chi into it. The next moment, the shadow of the venomous snake appeared. Viper immediately said, "I found the fire Qilin." Qin Feiyang was refreshed and hurriedly asked, "Where is it?" Viper said, "I'll give you the coordinates. You can teleport directly?" "Okay." Qin Feiyang nodded. Chapter 1333. After giving Qin Feiyang the coordinates, the phantom of the snake quickly dissipated. Qin Feiyang kept the image crystal and looked at the white-haired old man in the image. His eyes shone brightly. Suddenly, his figure flashed and left the ancient castle. He appeared in the void not far from Gongsun Bei and the other 2. Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang's appearance attracted everyone's attention. However, their eyes were filled with hatred. The white-haired old man was also looking at Qin Feiyang while fighting with the black-clothed old man. His old eyes were filled with curiosity. For the past 10,000 years, he had been in seclusion. He had only heard of Qin Feiyang. This was the first time he had seen Qin Feiyang in person. "You look like your ancestor." Suddenly, the white-haired old man spoke. Qin Feiyang was stunned. He looked at the white-haired old man and frowned. "You've seen my ancestor?" The white-haired old man said, "If I hadn't, I wouldn't have said such a thing." His expression was still calm. It was as if there was nothing that could change his emotions. Qin Feiyang took a deep look at him before opening a teleportation gate. "Where are you going?" Gongsun Bei quickly asked. "To pick someone up." After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he stepped into the portal without looking back. "Little bastard, die." However, there was a sudden change. More than 10 7-star combat emperors soared into the sky and pounced towards Qin Feiyang with murderous intent. The deputy pavilion master was shocked and quickly said to Gongsun Bei, "Nothing can happen to him now. Go and help him." Gongsun Bei nodded and immediately rushed towards Qin Feiyang. However, Qin Feiyang's face was filled with disdain. He glanced at the 7-star combat emperors and sneered, "You dare to kill me?" Boom. The soaring dragon art was activated. His cultivation level instantly soared to 3-star combat emperor. Roar. In the next moment, along with a deafening dragon roar, the divine dragon seal appeared and exuded a destructive aura. Boom. Immediately after, Qin Fei waved his hand, and the divine dragon seal expanded with the wind. In an instant, it grew to the size of a few thousand feet. Like a towering mountain, it carried the rolling dragon's might and suppressed the dozen 7-star combat emperors. "He's just a 3-star combat emperor. Don't be afraid of him." One of them roared, "That's right. Everyone, let's kill him together. Kill!" The combat emperors roared and their battle cries shook. Boom. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen perfect battle arts appeared. Their auras surged into the sky as they blasted toward the divine dragon seal. You want to shake a tree? How naive. Qin Feiyong smiled coldly. The divine dragon seal. The perfect battle perfect combat emperors was destroyed Feiyong Bang. More than a dozen people vomited blood as they looked at the descending divine dragon seal, their faces filled with disbelief. They even forgot to dodge. They were about to be killed by the divine dragon seal. However, at this moment, the white-haired elder waved his hand and a false god's force flashed across the sky and hit the divine dragon seal. Boom! The divine dragon seal shattered. Qin Feiyong turned his head and looked at the white-haired elder as purple-gold dragon blood dripped from the corner of his mouth. Purple-gold dragon blood. Seeing the purple-gold dragon blood on the corner of Qin Feiyong's mouth, the white-haired elder's expression changed for the first time. Purple-gold dragon blood, such a distant memory. The white-haired elder murmured and a murderous intent appeared in his eyes. He sent the black-clothed elder and the white-haired elder flying with a palm and charged towards Qin Feiyong. "Stop him!" The black-clothed elder roared. After stabilizing his body, he immediately chased after the white-haired elder. The other elder did the same. At the same time, the Vice Pavilion Master's face darkened. He destroyed the Mu family head's Qi and threw him to Gongsun Bay. Then, he took a step forward and stood in front of the white-clothed elder. "Get lost!" The white-clothed elder roared. His murderous intent was no longer concealed. He raised his hand and waved it. The false god's power surged and rushed towards the Vice Pavilion Master. "You want me to get lost? Let's see if you have the ability to do so." The Vice Pavilion Master's eyes shot out divine light. The false god's power gathered on his fist, and a destructive aura was released as he punched out. Boom! But the result was, with a loud bang, the Vice Pavilion Master was directly blasted away with blood gushing out of his mouth. A person who has just stepped into the false god realm dares to fight with me head-on? Who gave you the courage? The white-haired elder's eyes were sharp. He could tell the Vice Pavilion Master's cultivation at a glance. "I admit that with my strength, I can't pose any threat to you. But don't forget that I have two companions." The Vice Pavilion Master wiped the blood from his mouth and stared at the white-haired elder with a sneer. "That's right. Even if the three of us join forces, you may not be able to gain the upper hand." The black-clothed elder and the other elder also chased after the white-haired elder with a fierce aura. Without wasting any time, they joined forces with the Vice Pavilion Master to attack the white-haired elder. "Looks like you won't get what you want." Qin Feiyong looked at the white-haired elder and sneered. He then turned around and stepped into the portal without looking back. Interesting. However, seeing Qin Feiyong disappear, the white-haired elder calmed down. If one observed carefully, they would even notice that there was a hint of playfulness in his eyes. Back to Qin Feiyong. At this moment, he was teleported into a secret passage. The secret passage was 3 to 4 meters wide and was paved with a layer of hard black stone slabs. There were signs of severe weathering. On both sides of the walls, there were candles hanging at intervals. The candles flickered, making the secret passage somewhat eerie. "I'm here." Viper's voice sounded. Qin Feiyong raised his head and looked over. He saw a black stone door at the end of the tunnel ahead. It emitted an ancient and heavy aura. Viper was standing in front of the stone door at this moment. Qin Feiyong took a step forward and landed beside Viper. He asked, "Where's the fire Qilin?" "It's inside here." Viper pointed to the stone door and said, "I just found this place and faintly heard the roar of the fire Qilin inside." Roar, before his voice fell. Behind the door, there was another roar. Perhaps because the stone door had a soundproof effect, it wasn't very clear. But Qin Feiyong and Viper clearly heard it. And Qin Feiyong had seen the fire Qilin and was particularly familiar with its roar. He quickly looked at Viper and asked, "How do we open the stone door?" "I don't know. Since I sent you the message, I have been looking for the mechanism to open the stone door, but I haven't found it. I think it may need the blood of the white-haired elder to open it. Viper said. White-haired elder. Qin Feiyong was stunned. This is the place where the white-haired elder is in seclusion. Before, I walked around the holy mountain and didn't find the fire Qilin. So I have been wondering where the Mujia would keep the fire Qilin. But when I saw the white-haired elder, I guessed that the fire Qilin was most likely with him. After all, the fire Qilin is one of the most noble mythological beasts in the world. It's proud and won't easily submit to anyone. The Mujia will definitely send the strongest person to subdue it. So, I looked for it. I didn't expect that I guessed right. Viper laughed. Smart. Qin Feiyong gave him a thumbs up. But the problem now is, if there is no way to open this stone door, even if the fire Qilin is inside, we can't save it. Viper was a bit confused. Qin Feiyong looked at the stone door and turned his head to look at Viper strangely. Viper didn't feel anything at first, but slowly his whole body became uncomfortable and asked, "Why are you looking at me like that?" Qin Feiyong said, "Before we separated, what did I give you?" Viper was stunned. He looked at Qin Feiyong suspiciously, then lowered his head and pondered. Suddenly, he seemed to remember something. His eyes lit up. He looked up at Qin Feiyong and said, "Chang Shui." "Yes, with Chang Shui in your hand. What can't you open?" Qin Feiyong laughed. Viper smiled awkwardly and said, "I was too anxious just now. I didn't even think of Chang Shui." Qin Feiyong shook his head and smiled. "You have to be calm in the face of trouble. You have to pay attention to this in the future." "I will remember." Viper nodded. He immediately took out Chang Shui, stepped forward and waved it at the stone door. Clang! For a moment, the fire splashed and dust flew all over the sky. Bang! In less than 5 breaths, the stone door was accompanied by a loud noise. It collapsed into countless pieces. When the stone door collapsed, Qin Feiyong immediately sensed the fire Qilin's breath. But the breath was very weak. Qin Feiyong waved his hand, the dust dissipated, and a huge underground grotto appeared in front of Qin Feiyong and Viper's eyes. The grotto's diameter was 500 to 600 feet, and at the bottom of the center, there was a stone platform of more than 100 feet in size. And on the stone platform, there was a ferocious beast lying on its stomach. It was more than 3 meters long. Its whole body was like fire. It was extraordinary, and there was a natural divine qi on its body. Who else could it be but the fire Qilin? But at this moment, the fire Qilin's 4 limbs were tied with an iron chain. The 4 iron chains were as black as ink, as thick as an adult's arm, exuding a hidden aura. The other end was firmly fixed on the stone walls around the grotto. "It's really the fire Qilin." Viper's eyes were shining. At the same time, the fire Qilin also raised its head and looked at Qin Feiyong and Viper. Immediately, its feeble and lifeless eyes glowed with dazzling divine light. "Why are you here?" The fire Qilin's voice sounded in Qin Feiyong's mind. Although it had only seen Qin Feiyong once, it had a deep impression of Qin Feiyong. Because not only Qin Feiyong could feel an inexplicable sense of familiarity from the fire Qilin, but the fire Qilin could also feel an inexplicable sense of familiarity from Qin Feiyong. "I'm here to save you." Qin Feiyong laughed. "Save me?" The fire Qilin couldn't help but be absent-minded. But when it saw Qin Feiyong jumping down from above, it suddenly changed color and roared, "Don't come down." But it was too late. Qin Feiyong hit the void. In the void, a divine barrier suddenly appeared. This is the divine barrier that Mu Changfeng set up before he left. With your ability, there is no way to break it. Moreover, as long as you touch this divine barrier, he will immediately sense it. His strength is too terrifying. You can't save me. Hurry up and leave. Don't sacrifice your life in vain." The fire Qilin said. Hearing this. Chapter 1334. Outside. Just as Qin Feiyong crashed into the barrier, the white-haired old man who was fighting with the other 3 immediately sensed it. But he didn't stop Qin Feiyong. "If you can break my divine power barrier with your strength, then what's wrong with letting you save the fire Qilin?" The white-haired old man mumbled. It wasn't that he looked down on Qin Feiyong, but that he had full confidence in himself. Inside the cave, Hearing Qin Feiyang's words, the fire Qilin was very touched. As for Qin Feiyang, he was staring at the divine power barrier with flickering eyes. Suddenly, he took out the token. Although the barrier outside was set up by the white-robed old man and the white-haired old man, since this token could open the barrier outside, it should be able to open the barrier here as well. In his palm, battle chi surged and entered the token. Whoosh! A dazzling divine light shot out from the token and merged with the divine power barrier. But when the divine light entered the barrier, it was like a stone sinking into the sea. There was no reaction at all, let alone breaking the barrier. It didn't work? Qin Feiyang was stunned. It's useless. I appreciate your kindness, but this is really not a place to stay for long. The fire Qilin urged. Don't worry, that old man is fighting with the false god of the main tower. He doesn't have time to care about us. Qin Feiyang smiled and comforted. The fire Qilin said, even so, how can you break the barrier? If you can't break the barrier, everything will be in vain. Don't worry, there must be a way. Qin Feiyang whispered and suddenly looked at Chang Shui in Viper's hand. He reached out and said, give it to me. Viper quickly handed Chang Shui to Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang stared at Chang Shui and said with a pleading tone, I don't know if you can hear me, but I really hope that you can help me again. Chang Shui was indifferent and didn't respond. Please, as long as you help me this time, I will never trouble you again, Qin Feiyang said. Viper's expression changed as he hurriedly said, young master, you can't do that. The price is too high. One had to know. Chang Shui was omnipotent. No matter how big of a problem Qin Feiyang encountered, as long as Chang Shui was there, it could be easily solved. And now, in order to save the fire Qilin, Qin Feiyang made such a promise, which meant that he would have one less life-saving talisman in the future. I know what I'm doing, Qin Feiyang said. Ever since he met the fire Qilin, including this time, he had only met the fire Qilin twice. But for some reason, the fire Qilin was very important to him. He wanted to give up, but he couldn't. However, it wasn't because he coveted the fire Qilin as a divine beast and wanted to take it for his own use. It was because he had an inexplicable concern for the fire Qilin in his heart. It was as if there was some kind of unerasable bond between him and the fire Qilin. I'm begging you. This is really the last time I'm begging you for help. Qin Feiyang looked at Chang Shui and said with an incomparably sincere tone. Clang. Chang Shui was silent for a moment, then suddenly rose into the air, releasing a hazy white milky light, giving off a sacred and inviolable feeling. Qin Feiyang was overjoyed. Chang Shui took the initiative to wake up, which meant that it agreed to help him. Thank you. Qin Feiyang bowed. Clang. Chang Shui trembled slightly, as if it was responding to him. Then it turned in the air and slashed at the divine force barrier. With a loud bang, the divine force barrier shattered. Damn! Viper's eyes almost popped out. Even the divine force barrier set up by a peak semi-divinity realm super overlord could be broken so easily. What kind of weapon was this dagger? Similarly, the fire Qilin was also dumbfounded. At the same time, outside, the white-haired old man was fighting with the 3 deputy pavilion masters. But suddenly, his body shook and he spat out a mouthful of blood. What's going on? The 3 deputy pavilion masters were confused. Although the 3 of them had joined forces, they had always been at a disadvantage when facing the powerful white-haired old man. They were very sure that whether it was now or before, they did not cause any injuries to the white-haired old man. But why did he suddenly spit out blood? Moreover, his face was a little pale. How is this possible? At this moment, the white-haired old man's mind was in a mess. The divine power enchantment had actually been broken? A mere battle emperor was actually able to break through the barrier he had set up? What kind of joke was this? How could he have this ability? At this moment, his confidence was ruthlessly destroyed by Qin Feiyang. He could not accept this fact. His mind was in a mess. He even forgot that he was fighting with the 3 deputy pavilion masters. Although I don't know why he suddenly became like this is a good opportunity. Attack. Seeing this, the deputy pavilion masters sent a message to the 2 old men in black. The 2 old men in black also understood. Boom. The three of them attacked at the same time and hit the white-haired old man's chest with all their might. The white-haired old man seemed to have lost his senses and did not notice the three deputy pavilion masters at all. The three deputy pavilion masters' eyes were filled with murderous intent, and the power of the false god roared out from their palms without reservation. Elderphone, what are you doing? Quickly fight back. Seeing this scene, someone below roared. The white-haired old man suddenly came back to his senses, but it was too late to fight back now. But, relying on his tyrannical strength, he took a step forward and dodged the palm of another old man. He only took the palm of the deputy pavilion master and the old man in black to reduce the damage. But even so, he was still sent flying by the deputy pavilion master and the old man in black. Blood splattered everywhere on his chest, and his flesh was badly mutilated. Even his heart had been shattered. Boom. He was like a meteorite that smashed into a giant mountain below. The giant mountain collapsed and dust filled the sky. He was considered powerful. At the critical moment, he dodged the palm of the other old man. Otherwise, even if he did not die, he would have been fatally injured. Quickly chase after him, the deputy pavilion master shouted. Experts at the false god level were naturally good at seizing the opportunity. Take advantage of your illness and kill you. The three of them swooped down toward the white-haired old man. I'll deal with you later. The white-haired old man rushed out of the dust and looked at the three of them coldly. Then, he opened a portal. Don't even think about leaving. The three deputy pavilion masters waved their hands and the power of the false god roared out, drowning the white-haired old man and the portal. Boom. The portal shattered with a loud bang. The white-haired old man's injuries were also worse. He looked at the three of them angrily and did not open the portal again. He turned into a divine rainbow and rushed underground. Chase after him, the deputy pavilion master said. Don't chase after him. This should have something to do with Qin Feiyang. Take advantage of this opportunity to kill all the combat emperors of the Mu family. Killing one is enough. Killing two is worth it. Gongsun Bei said with a murderous aura. It has something to do with Qin Feiyang? This little bastard is quite capable. The three deputy pavilion masters looked at each other and immediately flew into the sky. They rushed toward the 1-star and 7-star combat emperors with murderous aura. Run! The master of the Mu family shouted anxiously. In the face of the three false gods, the 1-star and 7-star combat emperors did not dare to hesitate. They quickly turned around and ran. However, they were only combat emperors. How could they escape the pursuit of the false gods? Without a doubt, this was a massacre. Cries of agony could be heard everywhere. The entire Mu family was in despair. Back to Qin Feiyang. After breaking through the divine power enchantment, the divine light that Chang Shui emitted immediately dimmed. Although there was no brilliance, it was like an exquisite piece of art. It was pleasing to the eye. Qin Feiyang grabbed Chang Shui and landed beside the fire Qilin. He raised his saber and slashed down. Following a few loud clanging sounds, the 4 chains made of divine gravity iron instantly broke. Without the restraint of the chains, the fire Qilin's suppressed aura suddenly exploded. 5-star combat emperor. Qin Feiyang's pupils constricted and he asked, since you were captured and brought to the Mu family, have they been using the divine gravity iron to imprison you? Yes. The fire Qilin nodded. TSK, TSK, TSK. Qin Feiyang was speechless. The divine gravity iron could imprison the battle chi of living beings like a cripple. After being immobilized, one could not cultivate. Back then, when he first saw the fire Qilin, according to Yinwei, it should be a 2-star or 3-star combat emperor. However, he did not expect it to be able to break through to the 5-star combat emperor under the immobilization of the divine gravity iron. As if it could see the reason for Qin Feiyang's shock, the fire Qilin explained, although the divine gravity iron can imprison living beings, in front of us divine beasts, especially divine beasts with noble bloodlines like me, it can't unleash its full power. It can do that? Qin Feiyang was shocked. Yes. At most, it can only affect me by half. You should be able to do it now, because I can feel the power of a divine beast's bloodline in your body. Furthermore, Your bloodline power is giving me an enormous sense of oppression. The fire Qilin curiously sized up Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang smiled and cut his fingertip. Purple gold dragon blood flowed out. What? It's purple gold dragon blood. The fire Qilin's body suddenly trembled. Its eyes were filled with disbelief as it said, "Are you the descendant of the purple gold divine dragon?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. The descendant of the purple gold divine dragon. Didn't that mean that his original body was a purple gold divine dragon? Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. I am a real human. How can I be the descendant of the purple gold divine dragon? How can a human have purple gold dragon blood? The fire Qilin shook its head in disbelief. Qin Feiyang said, I don't know about that because my ancestors' bloodline power is also purple gold dragon blood. That's strange. The fire Qilin mumbled and looked at Qin Feiyang as if it was looking at a monster. But suddenly, a terrifying power came from above the cave. Oh no, it's Mu Changfeng's aura. The fire Qilin's expression changed. The snake pit also looked nervous. Qin Feiyang raised his head and looked up. The stone wall above the cave was trembling violently. Pieces of rock and soil kept falling down. That old thing must have thought that I couldn't break the barrier at first because he didn't stop me. But in the end, the barrier was broken by Chang Shui. I think he must have been shocked at this moment. Otherwise, he wouldn't have left the Deputy Pavilion Masters and come for me. However, this has created a great opportunity for us. Qin Feiyang sneered. What opportunity? The snake pit and the fire Qilin looked at him suspiciously. A chance to escape. Chapter 1335. And just as Qin Feiyang entered the portal, the rocks and soil above the grotto collapsed and submerged the portal. But with just these rocks and soil, it's certainly impossible to destroy the portal. He stood in the portal and his figure quickly faded. Just as Qin Feiyang was about to be teleported away, the white-haired old man finally arrived. When he saw that the fire Qilin was gone, his eyes suddenly spat out a thick anger. With a wave of his hand, the rocks and soil that submerged the portal turned into dust and flew away, revealing the portal. But at this moment, not only was the portal already dissipating, but Qin Feiyang was also gone. Little beast, I won't let you go. The white-haired old man roared and opened the portal and rushed in. Outside, Qin Feiyang appeared out of thin air above the holy mountain. When he saw the scene of the Vice Pavilion Lord and the other two slaughtering the Mu clan's battle emperors, even if he was used to bloody scenes, he couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. These three people were too savage, weren't they? Those cold eyes, vicious means. It feels like they're slaughtering livestock. Corpses are everywhere, and blood stains the mountains and rivers. Don't kill. Let's go. Qin Feiyang shouted coldly. He grabbed the token and flew toward the divine power barrier. Gongsun Bei and the Vice Pavilion Lord were taken aback. They looked up at Qin Feiyang and immediately chased after Qin Feiyang with the Mu clan's patriarch. With the token in hand, the barrier naturally can't trap everyone. Buzz. A light door quickly appeared. Why is the token in your hand? Is Mu Yuan all ready? When he saw the token, the Mu clan's patriarch trembled. His face was full of anger. Do you still need to ask? Not only is Mu Yuan dead, I've also looted all the herbs in your herb field. Qin Feiyang sneered. Puff. When the Mu clan's patriarch heard this, he was so angry that he vomited blood. In the blink of an eye, just as the light door appeared, Mu Changfeng appeared in the void below. Damn it. Just like Qin Feiyang, he couldn't help but feel his scalp go numb when he saw the blood-stained mountains and rivers and the ground littered with broken limbs. But at the same time, the anger in his heart was getting more and more uncontrollable. Whoosh! He suddenly raised his head and looked at Qin Feiyang and the others. If I don't kill all of you today, this old man isn't human. Moreover, this old man will return the favor and slaughter everyone in your main tower. Mu Changfeng roared and soared into the sky, carrying with him a towering, baleful aura as he chased after Qin Feiyang and the others. Quick! Qin Feiyang shouted. The old man's heart sank. He grabbed Qin Feiyang, Gongsun Bei, and the others, and rushed out of the light door. He didn't even look back. Once they left the divine power enchantment, they would be able to open a portal. But now, obviously, he couldn't open the portal. This was because opening a portal required a process. And with Mu Chongfeng's cultivation, he could definitely catch up to them while they were opening the portal. Mu Zhongfeng chased them out of the divine power barrier. He didn't stop at all and continued to chase after them. The old man in black said, "No, he's too fast. If this continues, he'll catch up to us sooner or later." Then what should we do? The Vice Pavilion Master panicked. False gods cherish their lives more than ordinary people, especially someone like the Vice Pavilion Master who had just become a false god. Because it wasn't easy to become a false god and have a chance to become a true war god, who would be willing to die? Qin Feiyang looked back at Mu Chongfeng and said, "We have to split up. This way, even if we die in the end, only one of us will die." The Vice Pavilion Master, the old man in black, and the other old man all fell silent. This was because they knew that if they really did as Qin Feiyang said, one of them would definitely be the bait to lure Mu Chongfeng away. After all, Qin Feiyang and Gongsun Bei were only war gods. If they were the bait, they would definitely die. As for the three of them, with their strength as false gods, they might have a chance. However, they didn't want to take the risk. This was because they didn't have the confidence to face Mu Chongfeng alone. Suddenly, the old man in black's eyes flashed and he asked, "Qin Feiyang, where are the mysterious lady and the others in the endless ocean?" Qin Feiyang glanced at him and sneered, "Asking me this question at this time? Isn't it obvious that you have ulterior motives?" "What do you mean?" The old man in black panicked, but he pretended to be calm and asked, "In Mu Chongfeng's eyes, he hates me more than he hates your main tower. You know this too. So, you want to use me as bait to lure Mu Chongfeng away. After all, to your main tower, if I'm killed by Mu Chongfeng, you'll have one less big problem. However, you want to take back the divine crystals. That's the key. Without me, you won't be able to find the mysterious lady and the others. Of course, with your main tower's ability, if you really want to find them, you'll definitely find them sooner or later. But by then, the battle with the mysterious lady and the others will be over. When the battle is over, your hope of snatching the divine crystals will naturally be lost. That's why you asked me where the mysterious lady and the others are without batting an eyelid. Your purpose is to get the coordinates from me. As long as you have the coordinates, then I'll be equivalent to a chess piece that has lost its value and can be abandoned at any time. Tell me, am I right?" Qin Feiyang looked at the old man in black mockingly. The old man in black was shocked. This little bastard's brain and eyesight were too terrifying. He actually saw through all his thoughts. "Although I'm much younger than you in terms of age, you'd better not play these little tricks in front of me, because your IQ is not enough." Qin Feiyang didn't hide his mockery. The old man in black immediately became angry and transmitted his voice to the Deputy Pavilion Master and the others. "Give me a suggestion. I agree with your idea. Leave Qin Feiyang behind. As for the divine crystals, we'll slowly find a chance to get them back later," the Deputy Pavilion Master said without hesitation. Another old man said, "I also agree. Anyway, this time, the Mu clan's vitality has been greatly damaged. We've also vented our anger." Qin Feiyang glanced at the three, and a shocking light flashed in the depths of his eyes. He smiled and said, "Don't flirt with each other. I'll tell you the coordinates." "What?" The three looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. They even wondered if they were hallucinating. "If we continue to run, we'll all die. It doesn't matter if I die, but you're all fake gods. It'll be terrible if you die. So, I'm willing to lead Mu Chongfeng away. It's a sacrifice for the greater good. But I have a condition," Qin Feiyang said. "What condition?" the old man in black asked. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with murderous intent. "You must help me kill the mysterious lady. Otherwise, I won't be able to rest in peace." "Okay, I promise you." The old man in black nodded. The mysterious lady was the target of their tower's eradication. Even if Qin Feiyang didn't say it, they would find a way to get rid of her. Qin Feiyang sneered secretly and directly gave the coordinates to the old man in black. "Are these coordinates real?" The old man in black was skeptical. Won't you know when you get there? Qin Feiyong said. He shouldn't lie to me. Gong Sun Bei looked at the old man in black and said. Then, he said to Qin Feiyong, what are you planning? I don't believe you'll be so kind. Don't think too badly of me, okay? If I'm really that kind of inhumane and heartless person, why would I give young Master Hao and Wang Yu potential pills? Qin Feiyong said secretly. Gong Sun Bei still didn't believe it. He felt that there was something wrong here, but he couldn't see through Qin Feiyong. The deputy pavilion master said, since the coordinates are real, don't hesitate anymore. Okay. The old man in black nodded and looked at Qin Feiyong. He sneered and said, then you're on your own. After saying that, he directly left Qin Feiyong and left with Gong Sun Bei and the others. You're on your own. Don't be complacent too early. The good show is yet to come, Qin Feiyong murmured. Looking at their backs, the sarcasm in his eyes was undisguised. Then, he didn't run away. He turned his head and looked at Mu Changfeng. Because there was nowhere to run, there was only one exit. At the same time, seeing Qin Feiyong stay alone, a trace of surprise flashed in Mu Changfeng's eyes. Whoosh! He stopped in front of Qin Feiyong and said gloomily, you still dare to stay? Aren't you afraid that I will kill you? Since I dare to stay, naturally I'm not afraid. Because I know that no matter what I do to your Mu clan, you won't kill me. You won't kill me. Qin Feiyong said with a faint smile. He had nothing to fear. Mu Changfeng looked gloomy. Qin Feiyong looked at Mu Changfeng's expression and smiled. It seems that my guess is true. What guess? Mu Changfeng said in a deep voice. I'm still useful in the eyes of your Mu clan. No. This is far more than your value. Because if I'm just useful, your Mu clan won't be so restrained in front of me. If I'm not wrong, your Mu clan should need me to do something for you. Qin Feiyong said lightly. Mu Changfeng's pupils shrank. Qin Feiyong curiously said, I'm really curious. What is it that I have to do? Mu Changfeng took a deep breath. I admit, I really won't kill you now. You have the castle. I can't trap you. But you have to remember, in this world, there are many people who are more capable than you. You, Qin Feiyong, want to be a chess player and control the game of chess, but you're not qualified. That's all I have to say. You're on your own now. After Mu Zhangfeng finished speaking, he brushed past Qin Feiyong. His hands were tightly clenched together. Obviously, he was trying to control the killing intent in his heart. In his view, Qin Feiyong was just an ant. Even with the castle, he was confident that he could kill Qin Feiyong before Qin Feiyong entered the castle. But, for some reason, he had to let go of Qin Feiyong. His heart was sullen to the extreme. Qin Feiyong certainly could see it, but he didn't take it to heart. In this world, there were too many people who wanted to kill him, but now, wasn't he still alive? He turned his head and looked at Mu Changfeng's back, lightly said, Where are you going? Aren't you asking the obvious? Of course, I'm going to kill the people from the tower. Chapter 1336. You've been here for so long. Do you think you can still catch up? Qin Feiyong chuckled. It's all because of you. Mu Changfeng suddenly turned around and glared at Qin Feiyong. He was like a wild beast that was about to go berserk. His eyes were extremely frightening. Don't be angry. I know where they're going. Chat with me for a while, and I'll give you their coordinates. At that time, I guarantee that you'll be able to kill them with your own hands. Qin Feiyong laughed. You'll give me their coordinates? Mu Changfeng was surprised. Yes. Qin Feiyong nodded. Wait, aren't you working with them now? Why would you betray them? What are you trying to do? Mu Changfeng stared at Qin Feiyong in shock and anger. Qin Feiyong smiled faintly. Didn't you just say that I'm not qualified to be a chess player? So I want to prove to you whether I'm qualified or not. Mu Changfeng's eyes darkened. You're plotting? Plotting? Qin Feiyong was slightly surprised. Then he shook his head and laughed. How could I have this ability? It's just a small trick, not worth mentioning. Mu Changfeng looked deeply at him. What do you want to talk about with me? Of course it's about your Mu family. I already know Lu Xingchen's identity, and the descendant you care about the most, Mu Qing, is now by Lu Xingchen's side, Qin Feiyong said. Mu Chongfeng's pupil shrank. The teleportation altar between Forgotten Continent and the Great Qin Empire is guarded by snow pythons. How did Mu Qing get to the Great Qin Empire? Qin Feiyang laughed. You should thank me for this. I'm the one who brought her there. Mu Chongfeng's face was filled with anger. Although he didn't know what was going on, there was no way that Mu Qing going to the Forgotten Continent was as simple as Qin Feiyang said. I brought Mu Qing to Lu Xingchen's side. This is a good thing for the Mu family. Why are you angry? Qin Feiyang was puzzled. That's all you want to talk about? Mu Chongfeng said with a solemn expression. Of course not. I want to know, other than you, Yiglao, and the white-robed old man, are there any other fake gods in the Mu family? Qin Feiyang said. Haha. Mu Chongfeng laughed and said sarcastically. So you want to inquire about the details of my Mu Jia? So are you going to tell me or not? Qin Feiyang said. Do you think I'll tell you? Mu Chongfeng coldly laughed. I won't. Qin Feiyang said. Then why did you ask? Mu Chongfeng angrily said. Qin Feiyang grinned. Isn't this stalling for time for the people from the tower? I think they should have already gone to that place. Bastard! Mu Chongfeng was furious. He stepped forward and grabbed Qin Feiyang's neck, roaring. Believe it or not, I'll kill you right now. I advise you not to get angry. Qin Feiyang laughed. Mu Chongfeng suppressed his anger and let go of Qin Feiyang's neck. Quickly tell me, where did they go? Qin Feiyang said. Actually, you should know. I know? Mu Chongfeng raised his eyebrows. Qin Feiyang said. Let me remind you. Where is the mysterious lady now? Mu Chongfeng frowned. Don't tell me you don't even know the mysterious lady? Although you're in closed-door training to break through to the War God realm, you should occasionally check the situation outside. Qin Feiyang looked at him mockingly. Mu Chongfeng didn't care about him. He lowered his head and didn't say anything. Suddenly, he thought of something and looked at Qin Feiyang. You're saying that the people from the tower went to the Endless Ocean? Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. Why did they go to the Endless Ocean? Could it be that they also discovered the mysterious lady's nest? Mu Chongfeng was bewildered. The tower doesn't have anyone with the Heaven's Eye. How could they discover it? Qin Feiyang chuckled. He gave Mu Chongfeng a set of coordinates and said, Go take a look. I guarantee that you'll be shocked. Mu Chongfeng looked at Qin Feiyang with a gloomy expression. He then opened a teleportation gate and hurriedly ran in. God Crystal, Qin Feiyang muttered. A cold light flashed in his eyes. He coldly snorted. Although I don't know what the use of the God Crystal is, as long as I'm here, none of you can think of getting it. After saying that, he also opened a teleportation gate and walked in. Endless Ocean. Rumble. Whoosh. The collision of God Force and Divine Will, the confrontation of God Art and War Soul, created a deafening sound. The sea within a few thousand miles was shrouded by a terrifying aura. Huge waves surged into the sky. The sky above a certain sea was divided into two battlefields. Among them, the battle between the middle-aged man and the white-robed old man was the most intense. Both of them were peak false god realm overlords and had mastered god arts. Their strength was on par, and it was difficult to determine who was the stronger one. At this moment, there were injuries of varying degrees on their bodies. God blood splattered everywhere. However, on the other side, it was a one-sided battle. The teacher of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young lady was a veteran false god. Although the mysterious lady had just stepped into the false god realm, one had to know that she was once a false god. However, due to certain reasons, she had fallen from her pedestal. It could be said that, in terms of true strength, even the teacher of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young lady was no match for her. In the face of such powerful false gods, how could Yiglao, who was fighting alone, compete with them? At this moment, there was not a single part of his body that was intact. He was dripping with blood, and his face and eyes were filled with weakness and powerlessness. In fact, his divine power was about to be exhausted. On the other hand, the mysterious lady and the teacher of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young lady only had a few minor injuries on their bodies. Of course, Yiglao and the white-robed old man both thought of asking for help from the clan. But, from the beginning to the end, The mysterious lady and the other two did not give them a chance to send a message, because they also knew that if the other false gods of the Mu family arrived, the situation would be reversed in an instant. Old thing, today is your doomsday. The mysterious lady laughed, her eyes filled with hatred. She slapped Yigleo's chest with her palm. With a crack, half of Yigleo's chest caved in, and his ribs were shattered. Puff. Yigleo spurted out blood. His entire body was like a kite with a broken string, flying out horizontally. Boom. The teacher of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young lady smiled coldly. With a step, he crossed the void and landed behind Yigleo. The power of the false god surged in his palm, emitting a bone-piercing cold current. At this moment, Yigleo felt unprecedented despair. He raised his head, looked at the white-robed old man in the distance, and roared, "I've reached my limit. Don't worry about me. Quickly find a chance to escape." The white-robed old man panicked and turned to look at Yigleo. His expression suddenly changed. "Today, none of you will be able to escape." The teacher of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young lady laughed sinisterly. He raised his arm and slapped Yigleo's head. This palm strike. Not only did he use all of his strength, but he also contained the anger in his heart. This palm strike was fatal. "Don't!" The white-robed old man roared hysterically. "It seems that this old man's life has come to an end today." Yigleo smiled bitterly, but soon after, his blood-stained face became incomparably ferocious. He roared, "But even if I die, this old man will drag you all to hell with me." Boom. A destructive aura suddenly rushed out from his body. What? He actually self-destructed. The mysterious lady, the teacher of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young lady, looked shocked and hurriedly turned around to escape. In the distance, the middle-aged man and the white-robed old man also stopped at the same time and looked at Yigleo in horror. Even if they were old antiques who had lived for tens of thousands of years, this was the first time they had seen a fake god self-destruct. At this time, 5 figures appeared in the sky above the sea. It was Gongsun Bei, the Vice Pavilion Master, and the Mu clan's patriarch. Sure enough, they're all here. When they saw the mysterious lady and the others, the Vice Pavilion Master and the others were overjoyed, especially when they saw the middle-aged man and the white-robed old man, who were both covered in scars. They couldn't help but be excited. He had really picked up a huge bargain. But then, they felt that something was wrong. How could there be a destructive aura that made them afraid? They hurriedly looked down, and when they saw Yigleo, they suddenly turned pale with fright. "He's going to self-destruct, run!" The Vice Pavilion Master roared anxiously. The black-robed old man immediately rolled up Gongsun Bei and the others, turned around and began to flee without looking back. What? Self-destruct? Gongsun Bei and the Mu clan's patriarch trembled physically and mentally, their eyes full of horror. But then, the Mu clan's patriarch's face was full of grief. He actually forced Yigleo to self-destruct. What happened before? Boom. With a loud bang, Yigleo's body suddenly exploded, and a destructive wave suddenly rushed out in all directions like a tide. The void was crazily shattered. Huge waves of hundreds of feet high covered the sky and earth. For the endless ocean, this was a catastrophe. Countless sea beasts were mercilessly obliterated. Even the sea beasts in the depths of the sea could not escape this disaster. In just an instant, the sea within a radius of 10,000 miles was dyed blood red. The blood waves were surging like a blood red, and the smell of blood was pungent. And it wasn't only the sea beasts that suffered. The mysterious lady, the teacher of the myths of the Dragon Phoenix House, the Vice Pavilion Master, and the others, although they all escaped in time, they were still drowned by the waves of air. Every one of them was covered in cuts and bruises, and blood was flowing freely. Gongsun Bei and the Mu clan's patriarch were even worse. In just an instant, their bodies were badly mutilated. If it weren't for the protection of the 3 Vice Pavilion Masters, they would have died on the spot. Even the 2 invincible existences, the white-robed old man and the middle-aged man, were fatally injured. This was the power of a fake god's self-destruction. Unless the real god of war came, no one would dare to face it head-on. Oldie, don't worry. Big brother, and I will avenge you. The white-robed old man looked back at the center of the explosion, muttered to himself, and fled in another direction. Now, the three fake gods of the main tower also heard the news and rushed over. If he didn't escape, he would have no chance at all. The famous Mu Zhongyun actually chose to escape? What a surprise! However, with this emperor here, where can you escape to? The middle-aged man sneered and chased after the white-robed old man like lightning. This emperor? The white-robed old man was stunned. Why did this person call himself this emperor? Wasn't this title only some powerful beasts would call themselves this? Chapter 1337. Could it be that you are? Suddenly, the white-robed old man seemed to have thought of something as his body trembled. He turned his head and stared at the middle-aged man in surprise. At least you have a little memory. The middle-aged man sneered. Damn it, how could it be you? The white-robed old man was both shocked and angry. At the same time, there was a trace of panic on his face. It was as if this middle-aged man was a terrifying demon king. The middle-aged man smiled contemptuously. The power of the fake god rolled in all directions as he punched towards the white-robed old man. However, the white-robed old man did not fight anymore. He turned around and fled. You can't escape. You can only choose to fight with me, the middle-aged man said. Why? Why are you helping that woman? What benefits did she give you? The white-robed old man roared. The middle-aged man lowered his arm and seemed to be lost in his memories. After a long time, he said, because she is my benefactor. Boom. Suddenly, his speed soared and caught up with the white-robed old man in a few steps. He slapped the white-robed old man's back. Gotcha! The bones on the white-robed old man's back instantly shattered. Don't go too far. Although you used to be a real war god, you are only a fake god now. If you really fight with your life on the line, it is hard to say who will win and who will lose. The white-robed old man spat out a mouthful of blood and roared. Then give it a try. The middle-aged man's eyes were filled with disdain. All right, you forced me to do this. The white-robed old man suddenly turned around and fought with the middle-aged man again. On the other side, the mysterious lady and the teacher of the Dragon Phoenix house looked at the place where Yigleo self-destructed with lingering fear, and then looked up at the vice pavilion master and the others. The mysterious lady said in a deep voice, Why are you here? The vice pavilion master and the other two looked at each other. Killing intent surged in their eyes. Gongsun Bei, look after the Mu family's patriarch. The black-robed old man instructed and then, together with the vice pavilion master and another old man, charged towards the mysterious lady and the teacher of the Dragon Phoenix house. Without a word of nonsense, a bloody battle was about to begin. The mysterious lady and her teacher's faces were gloomy. Facing three fake gods, if they did not find a way to escape quickly, they would probably follow in Yigleo's footsteps. But this time, the three vice pavilion masters had also come prepared. How could they let them escape so easily? Furthermore, in order to end the battle as soon as possible, the three of them used their strongest moves the moment they attacked. Deity Art, Fighting Soul, Heaven Destroying Earth. The situation of the battle was extremely tragic. Without any suspense, the mysterious madam and her companion were always at a disadvantage. A short while later, their injuries had worsened by several times, and their situation was not optimistic at all. You'd better not force me to use the divine crystal, the mysterious lady shouted. It would have been better if the divine crystals were not mentioned. The moment the divine crystals were mentioned, the three vice pavilion masters became even crazier, as if they did not care about their lives anymore. A painful scream rang out. The left arm of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's Miss Teacher was directly torn to pieces by the black-clothed old man and the Vice Pavilion Master's divine arts. This is the price for betraying our main tower. The black-clothed old man's eyes were filled with killing intent as he sent another palm strike towards the heart of the young miss of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion. The teacher of the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion was sent flying on the spot, his blood staining the sky. Old 9. The mysterious lady turned pale with fright. Madam, leave quickly. I'll hold them back. The teacher of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's Mist Teacher roared as he stabilized himself in the air. With a monstrous divine might, he pounced towards the 3 Vice Pavilion Masters. Hold us back? Unless you self-destruct as well. The 3 Vice Pavilion Masters coldly snorted and decisively abandoned the mysterious lady. At the same time, they surrounded the teacher of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's Mist Teacher. Obviously, they wanted to take advantage of the situation and kill the teacher of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's Mist Teacher before joining forces to kill the mysterious lady. You're courting death. The mysterious lady was furious. Boom. A shocking godly aura burst out from his body. The 3 Vice Pavilion Masters were shocked and hurriedly looked over. They saw a 5-colored crystal floating above the mysterious lady's head, blooming with a resplendent 5-colored divine light. That's right. It was the divine crystal that all the forces were envious of. Don't be afraid. The divine power required to revive the divine crystal is beyond imagination. I don't believe that she really dares to revive. The black-clothed old man shouted as he continued to attack the teacher of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's Mist Teacher. The Vice Pavilion Master and the other old man looked at each other and ignored the mysterious lady. You're underestimating my courage. There's nothing in this world that I don't dare to do. The mysterious lady stared at the 3 of them coldly. The power of the false god rolled out and poured into the divine crystal. The divine crystal shone brightly, and the divine might it emitted became more and more terrifying. Swish! But suddenly, a white-haired old man appeared out of thin air not far away. It was Mu Changfeng. You actually didn't lie to me? He thought that Qin Feiyang was lying to him, but he didn't expect that everyone was really here. And, suddenly, he also felt the aura of the divine crystal and immediately turned his head. When he saw the divine crystal, his old eyes were filled with greed. Mu Changfeng. At the same time, the mysterious lady, the 3 Vice Pavilion Masters, the middle-aged man, and the white-robed old man who were fighting also discovered Mu Changfeng. But the difference was that the white-robed old man was ecstatic. As for the mysterious lady and the Vice Pavilion Masters, their expressions changed. You're actually not dead yet, the mysterious lady said. How did you find this place? The 3 Vice Pavilion Masters spoke almost at the same time. They were very surprised. The white-robed old man roared, Big brother, quickly kill them and avenge old E. What? What happened to old E? Mu Changfeng asked. He has already self-destructed. The white-robed old man said in pain. Self-destructed. Mu Changfeng's body and mind trembled and his face turned pale. Suddenly, a monstrous murderous aura rushed out of his body. He turned his head and stared at the mysterious lady, the Vice Pavilion Masters, and the others. None of you can escape today. All of you must die. Before he finished speaking, he was like a wild beast, madly pouncing towards the mysterious madam. The mysterious lady's expression changed. She looked at the 3 Vice Pavilion Masters and said, He's too strong. We have to work together to kill him first. The 3 Vice Pavilion Masters looked at each other and nodded at the same time. Okay. The black-robed old man looked at the mysterious lady and said, We can work together, but we can't revive the divine crystal. They were also worried that during the battle, the mysterious lady would revive the divine crystal and kill them together with Mu Changfeng. No problem. The mysterious lady nodded and decisively put away the divine crystal. The next moment, the mysterious lady and the Vice Pavilion Masters worked together to kill Mu Changfeng. After the teacher of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young lady took a regeneration pill and a healing pill, he followed behind the 4 and attacked Mu Changfeng crazily. The situation changed in an instant. Although Mu Changfeng was strong, the mysterious lady and the main tower had joined forces. There were a total of 5 false gods. And other than the Vice Pavilion Masters, they were all veteran false gods. At the beginning, they were not at a disadvantage at all. However, the mysterious lady and the others had been seriously injured by Yigleo's self-destruction, and Mu Changfeng had always been in peak condition. The most important thing was that the cultivation of the mysterious lady and the others could not be compared to Mu Changfeng. Therefore, the battle began to tilt toward Mu Changfeng. At the same time as Mu Changfeng appeared on the battlefield, Qin Feiyang also arrived in the sky above the sea. Boom! The deafening sound of battle immediately entered his ears. Along with it came the terrifying fluctuations of the battle. So intense. He stood high in the sky, his clothes fluttering in the wind. He raised his head and looked in the direction of the battle fluctuations, the corners of his mouth pursing into a sneer. But when he looked down at the sea below, his expression changed drastically. Where's the island? It turned out that this was an island, and Yin Wei's clansmen lived on this island. But now, other than the surging waves, there was nothing. Could it be that they have been reduced to ashes in their battle? Qin Feiyang's eyelids twitched. He hurriedly took out an image crystal and sent a message to the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young lady. Buzz. The illusory image of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young lady appeared. Where are Yin Wei's clansmen? Qin Feiyang said solemnly. The Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young lady said, They are all with me. How is the situation on the Mu family's side now? Qin Feiyang heaved a sigh of relief and said, Give me the coordinates. We'll talk about it when I get there. The Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young lady nodded and gave Qin Feiyang the coordinates. Qin Feiyang immediately turned off the image crystal, opened the teleportation gate, and walked in. In the next moment, he appeared above an island. The island was about 10 miles in diameter. There were many people gathered on the island. They were really from the Heavenly Tiger tribe. It's Qin Feiyang. The people of the Heavenly Tiger tribe also noticed Qin Feiyang at the first moment. They all shouted from below, appearing to be extremely affectionate. Qin Feiyang smiled and raised his head to look at the surrounding void. He saw the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young lady standing in the sky not far away, looking at the sea ahead with worry in her eyes. Whoosh! At this moment, a few elders soared into the sky and landed in front of Qin Feiyang. They bowed and said, Greetings, young Master Qin. They were all elders of the Heavenly Tiger tribe. Their cultivation was basically at the 9-star Battle Saint realm. No need to be so polite. Qin Feiyang retracted his gaze and looked at the few of them with a smile. One of the elders asked, Young Master Qin, where's the patriarch? Did he come back with you? No. He has a mission and stayed in the Great Qin Empire, Qin Feiyang said. Is there any danger? The elders looked at Qin Feiyang worriedly. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, There is definitely danger, but with your patriarch's ability, he will definitely be able to avert the danger. The elders heaved a sigh of relief. Then why did you come back this time? How long are you going to stay? Can you stay a little longer? We want to repay you. Yes. If it weren't for your help back then, our Heavenly Tiger tribe would have been destroyed in the hands of the Mu family. The old men sighed as they looked at Qin Feiyang. Their eyes were filled with anticipation. Qin Feiyang glanced at the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion and said, I'm here to pick you up. Pick us up? The few of them were surprised. Sure. Qin Feiyang gestured for them to keep quiet and then pointed at the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion. The few of them looked at the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion and understood. Young Master Qin, there are more than 1 million people in our tribe. How can you take all of us away? A white-robed elder secretly said, I have a way. You guys go and gather everyone first. Don't make too much noise. Qin Feiyang said. Okay. The few of them nodded and flew down with excitement. Although the mysterious lady didn't hurt them during their time in the endless ocean, they still couldn't feel at ease. Chapter 1338. Qin Feiyang retracted his gaze and flew to the side of the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house. Needless to say, she was definitely worried about the mysterious madam. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Don't worry, your mother will be fine, and your teacher has been rescued. Teacher has been rescued? The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house was stunned. She turned to look at Qin Feiyang and asked, Really? And because of this, the main pagoda thought that this was a trap set up by me and you guys. They almost fell out with me. Qin Feiyang said. His tone was very calm, but there was a trace of coldness hidden in his eyes. If he hadn't adapted to the situation, not only would the plan have failed, but he would also have been left in the Mu family. Who? The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house heaved a sigh of relief. As long as she saved her teacher, with her mother and the middle-aged man. Even if they were to face all the fake gods of the Mu family, they should still have the strength to fight. However, she didn't know. The situation was far more complicated than she had imagined. What about the Mu family? How's the situation? The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house asked. Qin Feiyong smiled faintly and said, 1-star to 9-star War Emperor have basically been killed by the people of the main pagoda. Killed. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house's gaze trembled. Qin Feiyong said, in short, the Mu family's vitality has been greatly damaged this time. Even if they have the potential pill formula, without a few thousand years of cultivation, it will be difficult for them to recover. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house said, then now that our goal has been achieved, shouldn't we let Mother and the others retreat? I'm afraid that even if they retreat now, they won't be able to. Qin Feiyong said meaningfully. What do you mean? The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house frowned. Qin Feiyong smiled faintly and did not answer. He lowered his head and looked at the people on the island below. Those old men were very capable. The people who were scattered in various places had already gathered together. Swish. Qin Feiyong took a step forward and landed in the air above the crowd. I'll send you to a place where no one will disturb you again, Qin Feiyong said with a smile. Then, he waved his hand, and a majestic force emerged out of thin air. It surged in all directions in an overwhelming manner. In an instant, it covered everyone. Following closely, with a thought, the million tribesmen of the Sky Tiger tribe disappeared without a trace. Not a single one was left. The young lady of Longfeng House was shocked. She quickly flew to Qin Feiyong's side and scanned the island. She asked, where did you send them? Qin Feiyong still did not answer. He said indifferently, seeing that we are acquaintances, I advise you to find a place to hide first. What do you mean? The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house said angrily, you will understand soon enough. After saying that, Qin Feiyong directly entered the ancient castle and drove it towards the battlefield at lightning speed. Qin Feiyong, quickly come out and explain things to me. The young lady of the Longfeng Pavilion shouted angrily. However, it was like a stone sinking into the sea. No one responded to her. Inside the ancient castle, little cousin, how could you bear to hurt such a beautiful woman? Aren't you too cold-blooded? Lu Zheng looked at Qin Feiyong with disdain. She's wearing a veil on her face. How do you know she's beautiful? Qin Feiyong was speechless. TSK, who am I? I don't even need to look at her appearance. Just by looking at her figure and skin, I can tell whether she's beautiful or ugly. Moreover, this woman's voice is so pleasant to the ears. How could she be ordinary? Lu Zheng said proudly. Qin Feiyong rolled his eyes and no longer paid any attention to him. As they got closer to the battlefield, the battle fluctuations became more and more terrifying. However, with the ancient castle around, there was no need to worry about hurting them. About a few hundred breaths passed. The ancient castle finally entered the core area of the battlefield. Qin Feiyong could already see a few blurry figures in the screen. Let me calculate. Chief Pagoda Master has 3 false gods. The Mu family has 3 false gods. There are also 3 false gods on the mysterious Madam's side. There are a total of 9 false gods. 9 false gods fighting. This is the first time I've seen such a great battle. Lu Zheng was very excited. His eyes were full of anticipation. Aren't you talking nonsense? In today's world, even a super powerhouse at the peak of the 9-star combat emperor realm is rare, let alone 9 false gods fighting in one place at the same time. Qin Feiyong rolled his eyes at him. In this sea area, the wind whistled and huge waves covered the sky. The destructive fluctuations of the battle filled every inch of the void and every corner. Even a powerhouse at the peak of the 9-star combat emperor realm would be torn to pieces in an instant. But this couldn't stop the ancient castle from moving forward at all. Since the ancient castle's first seal was unlocked, its power had increased several times. Soon, the figures in the screen became clear. Qin Feiyong and Lu Zheng could finally see the battlefield clearly. Damn, that middle-aged man is actually so strong. Looking at the middle-aged man fighting with the old man in a white robe, Lu Zheng's eyes almost popped out. He is strong to begin with, Qin Feiyang said. When they were fighting for the divine crystal, if it weren't for the middle-aged man's help, the mysterious madam wouldn't have been able to fight against the main pagoda and the Mu family. With a wave of his hand, the screen changed and landed on the other side of the battlefield. What? Immediately, their eyes widened in anger and disbelief. The mysterious madam's side and the main pagoda's side working together were all within their expectations. Because Mu Chongfeng's strength was too strong, they were definitely not his match in a one-on-one fight, so they could only work together. But at this moment, the two sides working together were still no match for Mu Chongfeng. This came as a surprise to them. How could a super overlord at the peak of the pseudo-god realm be so strong? If he was really so strong, then why didn't Mu Chongfeng quickly take down the 3 deputy pavilion masters in the Mu family, hiding his strength? But that wasn't right, because at that time, the 3 deputy pavilion masters had killed everyone in the 10 stone towers. If it were anyone else who encountered such a situation, they would have used all of their strength to take down the invaders. So, the possibility that Mu Chongfeng was hiding his strength was not valid at all. Then why was this? Just the 3 deputy pavilion masters were enough to compete with Mu Chongfeng, but now the 5 of them working together were still suppressed? The mysterious madam's group of 5 were all missing arms and legs at this moment, looking extremely embarrassed. Wait, why don't I see Yiglao? Suddenly, Qin Feiyang was surprised. The screen changed and scanned the entire battlefield. He saw Gongsun Bei and the Mu family's patriarch in the distance, but there was no trace of Yiglao. No, we were all seriously injured by Yiglao's self-explosion. If we don't recover the divine crystal now, we won't be his opponent at all. Suddenly, the mysterious madam's fierce voice sounded. What? Qin Feiyang and Lu Zheng's body trembled violently, and their faces were full of horror. Yiglao actually blew himself up? This is too unexpected. Haha, this is really great news. Lu Zhang couldn't help but laugh, full of joy. Qin Feiyang's face also had a trace of a smile. With Yiglao's death, when they officially fight with Mu Tianyang in the future, they will have one less powerful opponent. And this time, no matter the result, the Mu family's loss is the greatest. The War Emperor was killed. The herb field was swept clean. They also lost a false god. Even the Mu family's patriarch and great ancestor. This is no longer a great loss of vitality, because such a loss is enough to shake the foundation of the Mu family. Lu Zheng suddenly came back to his senses and urged. The mysterious madam seems to have said that she wants to recover the divine crystal. Quickly get ready. Qin Feiyang immediately changed the screen and locked onto the mysterious madam. He saw that the 3 deputy pavilion masters were struggling when they heard that the mysterious madam wanted to recover the divine crystal. What are they hesitating for? Lu Zheng was puzzled. They must be afraid that the mysterious madam will kill them after recovering the divine crystal. But it can also be seen that this divine crystal is not ordinary terrifying, Qin Feiyang said. What kind of thing is it? It can actually make a false god so afraid? Lu Zheng raised his eyebrows. There's no time left. We can't hesitate anymore. The mysterious madam shouted anxiously. That's right. If we don't recover the divine crystal, we will all die here. The teacher of the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house was also burning with anxiety. All right, you go recover the divine crystal. We'll hold him back. The old man in black nodded fiercely, then looked at the deputy pavilion master and said, recovering the divine crystal is not an easy task. You go and help too. And the deputy pavilion master nodded. Immediately, the mysterious madam and the deputy pavilion master retreated. As soon as the two of them left, the pressure on the black-clothed old man and the other 2 immediately increased. Hurry up, we can't hold on for long. The teacher of the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house roared. After retreating a few miles, the mysterious madam immediately took out the divine crystal and floated in front of her. I've been waiting for this moment. Qin Feiyang had been driving the castle and following the mysterious madam. Seeing this scene, his eyes suddenly lit up. Boom. The next moment, activating the battle character art, his eyes and long hair instantly turned blood red, as if a war god had returned. Endless battle intent surged within the castle. Moreover, he took out all the important things, such as the Cosmos sack and Changshui, and placed them on the altar. At the same time, the mysterious madam and the deputy pavilion master looked at each other, and the power of the fake god poured out from their bodies like a torrent. But just as the power of the fake god was about to enter the divine crystal, Qin Feiyang appeared out of thin air, grabbed the divine crystal and grinned. "Thank you." After saying that, he disappeared in an instant. And it was also at this moment that the roaring and surging battle fluctuations in the air almost took Qin Feiyang's life. Flesh and blood flew all over his body, and even his bones could be seen. If he hadn't had the foresight to activate the battle character art in advance, if he hadn't fused with the fire of life and possessed the purple-gold dragon blood, he would have died in an instant. This sudden turn of events stunned the mysterious madam and the deputy pavilion master. Bastard! Immediately after, the two of them roared towards the sky, bristling with anger. At the same time, their divine consciousness surged out in all directions. How could this be? The old man in black, the teacher of the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house, and the other old man in the main tower were also shocked and quickly retreated to the side of the mysterious madam and the deputy pavilion master. On the other side of the battlefield, the white-robed old man and the middle-aged man were also dumbfounded. Gong Sunbei and the head of the Mu family were also petrified on the spot. Qin Feiyang was actually here? Mu Changfeng also had a look of shock. Haha, but soon, he understood and laughed out loud. That laughter was filled with a strong sense of ridicule. Chapter 1339. What are you laughing at? The mysterious lady said angrily. Can't you see it now? All of this was carefully planned by Qin Feiyang. He first used you and the main tower to deal with the Mu family. Then, he used the people of the Mu family and the main tower to deal with you and rob you of the divine crystals. Mu Changfeng laughed. When the mysterious lady heard this, she immediately roared in her heart, "Little bastard, you dare to scheme against me? Aren't you afraid of being struck by lightning?" Mu Changfeng then looked at the other three and said, "Didn't Qin Feiyang promise to help the main tower get back the divine crystals?" The three of them didn't speak. Their faces were gloomy. "Looks like I guessed right. Amazing." Without spending a single soldier, he looted the herb field of the Mu family, saved the fire Qilin, made us lose all the battle emperors, and even killed Yiglao. In the end, he got the divine crystals. Qin Feiyang, I really underestimated you. I have to admit that you are indeed qualified to be a chess player. Haha, do you think it's funny? To think that we, the top 3 factions, and our semi-divinity realm experts, would be toyed around by a brat. Mu Changfeng looked at the mysterious lady and the others. His eyes were full of ridicule. Without exception, the group of people's faces were extremely ugly. Bastard, I knew you wouldn't be so kind. Gong Sunbei clenched his hands. His eyes were gloomy. This is retribution. The head of the Mu family looked at him gloatingly. What are you gloating about? Although we were schemed against by Qin Feiyang, the main tower didn't lose anything at all, and the mysterious lady only lost the divine crystals. But your Mu family, the things you lost this time should be enough to make you despair. Gong Sunbei sneered. The head of the Mu family's face sank, and a strong light of hatred shot out from his eyes. I've caught the castle. Suddenly, the old man in black robe shouted. Where is it? Everyone's spirit was lifted. Over there. The old man in black robe pointed to the void dozens of miles to the left. Everyone present, except for Gong Sunbei and the head of the Mu family, all released their divine sense and rushed towards the void. Immediately, they caught a speck of dust that was shuttling through the void like lightning. Quickly, imprison it. The vice head of the main tower shouted. If they let Qin Feiyang escape, they would become a joke in the future. Streaks of divine might burst out, covering the sky and covering the earth as they surged toward the ancient castle. So what if it's sealed? Can you still break open the ancient castle and capture Qin Feiyang? Mu Changfeng's eyes were filled with ridicule. Although the Mu clan, the seal, it's not it. If it was a long time ago, he might have done so. He, with, with, Qin Feiyang had already broken through to a 2-star combat emperor and had countless herbs. It was impossible to trap him. Suddenly, he looked at the mysterious lady and the others. Killing intent surged in the depths of his eyes. Whoosh! In the next moment, he was like a ghost, instantly landing in front of the 5 people. He raised his old hand and slapped another old man in the main tower. Because this person was standing at the front, the 5 people's attention was on the castle. They didn't expect that Mu Changfeng would ignore Qin Feiyang and attack them, so they weren't prepared at all. Boom! Crack! Ah! Accompanied by a loud sound, the old man's head exploded on the spot. Blood splattered across the sky, and a scream resounded through the sky. The mysterious lady and the others' faces suddenly changed. They hurriedly looked back at the old man and found that his soul had been annihilated. The annihilation of the soul. Even a false god couldn't reverse the situation. This also meant that another false god had fallen. Immediately after, the 4 of them retreated at the same time. With the divine crystals, you still have a little chance. But now, the divine crystals have been snatched away by Qin Feiyang. What else can you use to fight me? All of you, die. Mu Changfeng laughed sinisterly and rushed toward the 4 people crazily. In the distant void, inside the castle, Qin Feiyang was lying on the ground, bleeding all over. When they were fighting for the divine crystals, the battle fluctuations in the void had caused fatal injuries to him. Now, he didn't even have the strength to stand. Even his consciousness was being swallowed by the darkness. However, he knew that he couldn't faint now. Therefore, he bit his tongue and tried to stay awake to drive the castle away from this place. The divine crystals were quietly on the ground of the castle. As for Lu Zhang, he had been nervously staring at Mu Changfeng and the others in the screen. Seeing that Mu Changfeng suddenly attacked the mysterious lady and the others, he was relieved. He immediately ran to Qin Feiyang's side, squatted on the ground, and asked anxiously, "How are you?" Although he was a little unhappy with Qin Feiyang, blood was thicker than water. He still cared about this little cousin of his. "I won't die," Qin Feiyang said weakly. "It's good that you won't die." Lu Zheng immediately took out a healing pill with 5 elixir veins and stuffed it into Qin Feiyang's mouth. However, the injuries were too serious. Even a healing pill with 5 elixir veins would have little effect. Seeing this, Lu Zheng frowned and said, "What do we do now?" Qin Feiyang said, "Help me up. Let's leave the castle and return to the great Qin Empire immediately." Lu Zheng was stunned and asked, "What about the mysterious lady and the others?" Qin Feiyang said, "I've achieved my goal. Whether they live or die has nothing to do with me." "That makes sense." Lu Zheng nodded. Ignoring the blood on Qin Feiyang's body, he picked up Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang willed, and the 2 immediately appeared in the sky above the sea. Then, Lu Zheng opened the portal and descended above the ice lake with Qin Feiyang in his arms. Qin Feiyang said, "The teleportation altar is in a grotto at the bottom of the lake." He was almost at his limit. Lu Zheng didn't dare to delay for a moment and immediately rushed into the ice lake. At the same time, his battle aura surged and formed a battle aura boundary to separate them from the bone-chilling lake water. What's going on? Before reaching the bottom of the lake, the snow python greeted them. Looking at Qin Feiyang's injuries, its eyes were full of shock and confusion. "There's a situation," Lu Zheng said respectfully, but there was a trace of suspicion in his eyes. When he first came here, he clearly sensed a wisp of dragon aura here. Why was it gone now? A situation? The snow python was stunned. It looked at Qin Feiyang and sneered. "You're so badly injured. It seems that you've hit a wall this time." Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. Lu Zheng asked, "Senior, can we leave now?" He was very impatient, but he didn't dare to show it. The snow python glanced at Lu Zheng, then looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "You'd better behave yourself in the future. Otherwise, you'll lose your life. Let's go." Lu Zheng immediately carried Qin Feiyang and rushed down. After reaching the bottom of the lake, Qin Feiyang pointed to the entrance of the grotto. He couldn't hold on any longer and fell into Lu Zheng's arms, fainting. "Little cousin." Lu Zheng's expression changed. Feeling that Qin Feiyang's heart was still beating, he let out a breath and carried Qin Feiyang to the entrance. After entering the grotto, he didn't waste any time and immediately activated the altar. Qin Feiyang, why did you lie to me? Come out and explain it to me. But at this moment, Gongsun Bei's angry roar came from outside. He guessed that Qin Feiyang would immediately leave the Forgotten Continent after stealing the divine crystal, so he rushed here. However, Lu Zheng didn't pay attention to him at all. He stepped onto the altar, and his figure quickly faded. Outside the ice lake, Gongsun Bei held the Mu family's head and stood by the lake, his eyes full of anger. Dong! At this moment, the snow python broke out of the water and floated above the lake. Greetings, senior. Gongsun Bei's pupil shrank and he bowed. He's gone. You can leave too. Don't disturb my meditation. After the snow python finished speaking, it returned to the ice lake and disappeared. Gongsun Bei looked at the ice lake, his face full of unwillingness. After a long time, he turned and left with the Mu family's head. Butterfly Valley. Hundreds of flowers bloomed, and the fragrance of the flowers filled the air. Stalks of emerald green grass swayed in the wind, full of vitality. By the lake, Old Man Qin sat on a blue stone as usual, like an ordinary old man in the countryside. He didn't have the slightest aura, quietly fishing. Suddenly, he looked up at the sky, a cold light flashing in his eyes. Almost in the next moment, two figures appeared. It was Lu Zheng and Qin Feiyang. Seeing that it was Qin Feiyang, the cold light in Old Man Qin's eyes faded, but then he noticed Qin Feiyang's injury. Whoosh! He immediately put down the fishing rod, turned into a stream of light, and landed in front of Lu Zheng. Looking at the unconscious Qin Feiyang, he asked, "What happened?" "It's a long story. Let's find a place to put him first." Lu Zheng said, "Come with me." Old Man Qin glanced at Lu Zheng, then turned and flew down to the wooden building below. Lu Zheng followed closely behind him. Entering the wooden building, Old Man Qin took Lu Zheng into a bedroom. The bedroom was very simple. There was no decoration, only a clean wooden bed. Lu Zheng gently placed Qin Feiyang on the wooden bed, then silently observed Qin Feiyang's condition. Although Old Man Qin was full of doubts, he didn't disturb Lu Zheng at this moment. Time flew by. An hour passed. Seeing that Qin Feiyang's injury didn't worsen and was gradually getting better, Lu Zheng was completely relieved. Old Man Qin couldn't wait to ask, "What happened to make him like this?" "Let's talk outside." Lu Zheng turned and walked outside. Old Man Qin hurriedly followed. The two left the room and walked to the tea table in the hall. The tea table was carved from a very common tree root, looking simple and plain. I didn't expect a fake god to live such a simple life. Lu Zheng glanced at the tea table, then glanced at the hall, and smiled. Old Man Qin rolled his eyes at him and said impatiently, "Don't talk nonsense. Tell me what you experienced on the Forgotten Continent." "I've been on the run for so long. My mouth is dry. You should at least make me a pot of tea to moisten my mouth, right?" Lu Zheng sat by the tea table and chuckled. "You want me to make tea for you? Who do you think you are? Are you looking for a beating? Tell me." Old Man Qin's face darkened, and he said angrily. Lu Zheng smiled helplessly and slowly told him what happened these days. However, he didn't mention the divine crystal. Chapter 1340. After listening, Old Man Qin was dumbfounded. He did not expect that in just a few days, Qin Feiyang and Old Man Qin had experienced so many things. Lu Zheng picked up the teacup and moistened his throat. He smiled and said, "My little cousin's performance is not bad, right?" "Good." Old Man Qin nodded. His old face was full of praise. With the cultivation of a 2-star combat emperor, he dealt with the 3 superpowers of the Forgotten Continent. Among them, there were 9 fake gods. If it was anyone else, it would be impossible to succeed. However, not only did Qin Feiyang successfully deal with them, he even killed 2 fake divinities and took advantage of them. Who could compare with such a mind? Even he was left in the dust. And the most happy thing was that the Mu family. Time passed day by day. During these days, Lu Zheng temporarily stayed here. Other than taking care of Qin Feiyang, he fished, drank tea, and chatted with Old Man Qin every day. His days were very comfortable. On the 5th day, Qin Feiyang finally woke up from his coma. The injuries on his body had been completely healed with the help of the flame of life and the purple gold dragon blood. Now, his skin was as smooth and tender as a newborn baby's. Lu Zheng had also helped him clean the bloodstains on his body and changed him into a clean set of clothes. He opened his eyes and looked at the ceiling in confusion. Where was this? This room was very unfamiliar. After a while, Qin Feiyang slowly sat up and looked around the room. He then got off the bed and stretched his muscles and bones. Feeling that his injuries had been completely healed, he walked to the window and looked outside. Green mountains and clear waters, a sea of flowers and a lake scene came into view. The clear air assaulted his nose, making him feel refreshed. It turned out to be the Butterfly Valley. Qin Feiyang muttered and flew out of the window. He stood above the wooden building and scanned the Butterfly Valley. Soon, he saw Old Man Qin and Lu Zheng by the lake. The two of them sat by the lake, fishing with fishing rods in their hands. They were like a pair of grandfather and grandson, laughing and chatting leisurely. Whoosh! Qin Feiyang's figure moved. He streaked across the sky and landed beside the two of them. He said, "Why are you laughing so loudly? Even if there are fishes, they will be scared away by you. What do you know? What we're fishing for is not fish, but life. A cultivation maniac like you will never understand the joy in this." Lu Zheng said in disdain. The corner of Qin Feiyang's mouth twitched. He really didn't understand what fishing had to do with life. He's awake. Old Man Qin lifted his head and looked at Qin Feiyang with a smile. Qin Feiyang nodded and cupped his hands. "Thank you for your care, Elder Qin." Lu Zheng said, "Don't get it wrong. I've been taking care of you for the past 5 days, not old Qin. I'm the one you should be thanking." 5 days? Qin Feiyang stared blankly for a moment before sighing. Time really flies. I wonder how the Forgotten Continent is right now. Do you still need to think about it? Facing 2 super overlords at the peak of the pseudo-god realm, do you think the people from the head of the tower and the mysterious madam will have a good time? I'm afraid they're all dead by now. Lu Zheng laughed gloatingly. All dead, Qin Feiyang murmured, a complicated feeling rising in his heart. He didn't care about the people from the head of the tower, but he had a different feeling about the mysterious madam. Was it guilt or sympathy? He couldn't tell. Lu Zheng put down the fishing rod, got up, and looked at Qin Feiyang, saying, "Since you've recovered, let's get ready to leave." "Okay." Qin Feiyang nodded and collected his thoughts. He looked at Old Man Qin and said, "Did anyone come to the spiritual state during the few days we were away? Or did anything major happen?" "I'm not sure if anyone came to the spiritual state, because everyone in the imperial capital knows that I'm guarding the Butterfly Valley. Even if someone came, they wouldn't pass by here. As for whether anything major happened, I haven't received any news yet." Old Man Qin said. The 9 states were connected, and one could enter the spiritual state from the other 8 states. Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and said, "Okay, we'll take our leave first. Zhuge Nanhua is guarding the pagoda. I'd like to ask you, how are you going to go back?" Old Man Qin chuckled. "Let's go back openly. If he dares to block the way, I'll kill him." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "Ha ha, you have a personality and are very domineering. I like it. Go." Old Man Qin laughed and waved his hand. "Goodbye." Qin Feiyang and Old Man Qin bowed and turned to rush into the secret chamber. Lu Zheng smiled and said, "To be honest, our biggest gain is actually Old Man Qin." "What do you mean?" Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked suspiciously. "Now that Old Man Qin is on our side, with his strength and status in the Great Qin Empire, he will be of great help to us in the future." Lu Zheng said, "I won't object to this." Qin Feiyang smiled. After a while, the two of them entered the secret chamber, and Lu Zheng immediately revived the altar. But suddenly, Qin Feiyang reached out and stopped Lu Zheng. "What's wrong?" Lu Zheng looked at him in confusion. Qin Feiyang said, "I'll send a message to Fatso first to see if he's still in the spiritual state." Then, he took out the image crystal. However, after waiting for a long time, Fatso did not respond. Qin Feiyang also put away the image crystal and looked at Lu Zheng. "Let's go." It was impossible for Fatso not to respond to him. The only explanation was that Fatso did not receive his message. There was only one possibility if he did not receive the message. Fatso was now in the capital. Lu Zheng waved his hand, and a fiery red battle aura emerged and poured into the teleportation altar. By the way, when you were in the Forgotten Continent, Gongsun Bei came to find you after you fell into a coma. From his tone, he seemed to hate you. Lu Zheng said, "It would be strange if he didn't hate me." Qin Feiyang said. Lu Zheng asked, "Then do you still plan to take him under your command?" "A forcibly picked melon is not sweet. Let nature take its course." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, But what?" Lu Zheng was suspicious. Qin Feiyang said, "Although the Mu family suffered a fatal blow this time, we still can't be careless because the Mu family has another artifact in addition to the space-time gate." "What?" Lu Zheng's expression changed. "This is what Mu Qing told me personally. It is said that it was personally refined by Mu Tianyang and integrated with Mu Tianyang's flesh and blood. Back then, when Mu Tianyang was reborn, the Mu family was able to sense it immediately because of this artifact. But what I don't understand is, why didn't the Mu family take out this artifact when such a big thing happened this time?" Qin Feiyang frowned. "Why didn't you tell Gongsun Bei about such an important thing?" Lu Zheng was surprised. "If I tell them that the Mu family has another artifact, will they cooperate with us?" Qin Feiyang said, "You are a scammer. Fortunately, I am your cousin. Otherwise, I don't know how I would be scammed by you." Lu Zheng rolled his eyes. Qin Feiyang was quite speechless. "In short, this time, the Mu family gave me a strange feeling. It's better to be careful in the future." Among the fake gods, only Yiglao, Mu Changfeng, and the white-robed old man had appeared. They clearly had a divine artifact, but they didn't show it. He wouldn't believe that there was nothing wrong with it. Buzz. The teleportation altar was activated. Lu Zheng retracted his arm and said, "Send me to the castle. We can't let the Emperor and the State Preceptor know that the Lu family is involved." "I really don't understand. The Lu family is so strong. What are you afraid of?" Qin Feiyang frowned. "Some things are not as simple as you think." Lu Zheng said. Qin Feiyang said, "Then tell me, how complicated is it?" Lu Zheng was silent and looked at him quietly. Qin Feiyang was extremely angry, but he could only hold it in. After sending Lu Zheng to the castle, he let out a long breath and stepped on the teleportation altar. At the same time, the pagoda door opened quickly. A black figure stood in front of the pagoda and stared at the teleportation altar. His eyes were cold. This person was Zhuge Nanhua, an expert at the peak of the 9-star combat Emperor realm. Swoosh. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang's figure appeared on the teleportation altar. Qin Feiyang. Zhuge Nanhua's eyes were filled with intense killing intent. He didn't even bother to hide it. Sensing the killing intent, Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned. He jumped down from the altar and looked up at Zhuge Nanhua. He laughed and said, "I was wondering who it was. It's the great-grandfather of the person who lost to me. Greetings, senior." The person who lost to him was naturally Zhuge Mingyang. Zhuge Nanhua almost went berserk in the face of such a blatant mockery. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with a hint of mockery. He laughed and said, "Senior, it must be very tiring to be guarding the door. When you have time, I'll invite you to the Fragrant Moon Brothel for a few drinks and relax." In other words, Zhuge Nanhua was just a watchdog. Who was Zhuge Nanhua? How could he not hear the mockery in Qin Feiyang's words? He clenched his fists tightly, making cracking sounds. "It seems like Senior has nothing to say to me. I'll take my leave then." Qin Feiyang laughed and walked out of the pagoda. He walked past Zhuge Nanhua. Suddenly, Zhuge Nanhua turned around and grabbed Qin Feiyang's shoulder. "Is there anything, Senior?" Qin Feiyang didn't even turn his head. His eyes were filled with a piercing killing intent. The Great Qin Empire has a rule. Without the Emperor's permission, no one in the imperial capital or the 9 prefectures is allowed to activate the teleportation altar. Now, you've come back so brazenly. It's obvious that you're challenging the Emperor's authority. May I ask, what punishment do you deserve?" Zhuge Nanhua shouted. "Rules," Qin Feiyang mumbled. Suddenly, He grinned and mocked. Do you think these rules will work on me, Qin Feiyang? As for challenging the emperor's authority, I've done so many times in the past. But who can do anything to me? How dare you? Zhuge Nanhua shouted. I'm just that impudent. What do you want? Qin Feiyang slapped Zhuge Nanhua's hand away and turned around to look at him with a smile. Zhuge Nanhua said, You've broken the rules. You'll have to kill all your relatives. Sure, go ahead. However, I have many relatives. Your emperor is one of them. There's also the Liu family, all right? There's also my little brother, the little prince. Go ahead and kill them if you can. Chapter 1341. Hearing this, Zhuge Nanhua's face turned ashen. The 9 familial extermination he mentioned had nothing to do with the emperor. It was only targeted at Qin Feiyang and Qin Feiyang's friends. But he didn't expect that Qin Feiyang would actually seize these words and accuse him of such a heinous crime. Why? You don't dare? Then why are you still so arrogant in front of me? Qin Feiyang smiled in disdain. Before he finished his words, the seal appeared behind Zhuge Nanhua without any warning. Boom! The seal attacked as soon as it appeared. Those sharp claws instantly tore through Zhuge Nanhua's clothes and flesh and entered his chi. Ah! Zhuge Nanhua screamed in agony as the pain pierced through his heart. This change was something that he had never expected. I didn't intend to hurt you, but you people from the Zhuge family don't know what's good for you. Always asking for trouble. Tell me, aren't you all asking for trouble? This is really troublesome. It's rare that I want to keep a low profile, but I don't have the chance. Qin Feiyang rubbed his head with a helpless look. Zhuge Nanhua was so angry that he trembled. How could there be such a shameless person in this world? Boss Qin, what should we do? The seal snickered. Qin Feiyang glanced at Zhuge Nanhua and said, Kill him? Don't kill me. Zhuge Nanhua's body trembled violently. His eyes were filled with fear. Where's your backbone? Where's your backbone? As a member of the Zhuge family, you can't be so weak, do you understand? Qin Feiyang lectured him with good intentions. Zhuge Nanhua was going crazy. He was scared and angry at the same time. To be honest, with my strength, I'm definitely nothing in your eyes. But I can't help it. I'm popular and everyone is willing to help me. Qin Feiyang smiled in ridicule. Then, he turned around and strode away. Did you hear that? Kid, you think you can provoke Boss Qin? You really don't know what you're worth. The seal arrogantly raised its claws and poked Zhuge Nanhua's head as it said disdainfully, Get your paws off me. Zhuge Nanhua roared. Yo, that's pretty awesome. I'll poke. So what if I poke you today? Bite me. The seal let out a strange laugh. Just you wait. One day, all of you will die without a burial ground. Zhuge Nanhua roared. Unfortunately, even if such a day comes, you won't have the chance to see it. A ferocious glint flashed across the seal's eyes. It raised its claws and mercilessly slapped at Zhuge Nanhua's head. Wait, but suddenly, Qin Feiyang stopped in his tracks and turned to look at the seal. What happened? The seal asked. Qin Feiyang said, Give him a chance. Let him see the day we die without a burial ground. Ugh, the seal was stunned. Zhuge Nanhua was also shocked. Are you sure? The seal came back to its senses and asked. This was equivalent to letting the tiger return to the mountain. Qin Feiyang nodded, but a playful look flashed past his eyes, and he said, However, the death penalty can be avoided, but the punishment can't be avoided. Strip him naked and throw him into the central square of the first district. Strip him naked. Zhuge Nanhua's body and mind trembled as he roared, You'd better kill me. A supreme expert at the peak of the 9-star war emperor realm and an important figure in the Zhuge family, was stripped naked and thrown into the central square, becoming a joke for countless people. This was even crueler than killing him. The seal was stunned for a moment, then laughed evilly. He looked at Qin Feiyang and praised. This move is fun, really fun. Then, it waved its claws, and with a poochy sound, the clothes on Zhuge Nanhua's body were torn into pieces. Immediately, a naked body appeared in Qin Feiyang's line of sight. Bastard! I swear, I will not let you off. Zhuge Nanhua covered his lower body with both hands and squatted on the ground. He stared at Qin Feiyong and the seal and roared. "I'll be waiting." Qin Feiyong opened a teleportation gate and said, "Bring him there. Come find me at Haotian Palace later." "All right." The seal shouted and released its emperor's might. It swept up Zhuge Nanhua and rushed towards the teleportation gate. But before it entered the teleportation gate, it suddenly stopped and rolled its eyes. Suddenly, it chuckled and released the pressure. Zhuge Nanhua immediately fell to the ground like a dead dog. "Crawl properly, don't move." The seal shouted coldly, and with a sinister laugh, it waved its claws again and again. "What are you doing?" Qin Feiyong walked forward suspiciously and couldn't help but laugh. On Zhuge Nanhua's back, there was a line of bloody words. "I am an old hooligan. I am an old beast. I am an old undying bastard who grew up eating feces." It was just this sentence. "How is it?" The seal looked at Qin Feiyong with its thieving eyes. "Not bad." Qin Feiyong held back his laughter and nodded. "Hee." The seal grinned and swept up Zhuge Nanhua again, entering the teleportation gate without looking back. "Ha." After the teleportation gate disappeared, Qin Feiyong couldn't hold it in anymore and laughed out loud. One could imagine how big of a commotion Zhuge Nanhua would cause when he appeared in the central square. Swoosh! At this moment, a white-haired old man flew through the air and landed on top of the pagoda. "It's you." It was the Grand Tutor. When enemies met, their eyes were exceptionally red. Be it the Grand Tutor or Qin Feiyong, their eyes were filled with a strong cold light. "Yes, it's me," Qin Feiyong said. "Why are you here?" The Grand Tutor said angrily. Just as he finished speaking, he noticed the bloodstains on the ground. His expression changed slightly, and he hurriedly rushed into the pagoda. Seeing that there was no one in the pagoda, he released his divine might and imprisoned Qin Feiyong. He shouted, "Where is Zhuge Nanhua? What did you do to him? If you want to know, go to the central square of the first district yourself. Also, don't use your tortoise's might to imprison me. It will make me very angry. Once I get angry, I can't guarantee that I'll do something out of line. For example, Zhuge Mingyang." Qin Feiyong sneered. The Grand Tutor clenched his fists and stared at Qin Feiyong. In the end, he withdrew his divine might, opened a teleportation gate, and rushed in like lightning. Qin Feiyong sneered, glanced at the back mountain of the imperial palace, and also opened a teleportation gate and left. The first district, Central Square. There was a teleportation gate in the square. But unlike ordinary teleportation gates, this teleportation gate was fixed and led to several other districts. Because of this, there was a lot of traffic in the central square every day. For example, there were hundreds of people lining up in front of the teleportation gate. "Everyone, come here quickly. I have a surprise for you." Suddenly, a laugh sounded in the air above the square. And the people in the square immediately looked up. They saw a seal standing in the air, and beside it was a naked man. What's going on? Everyone was stunned. Although Zhuge Nanhua had been famous for a long time, he rarely appeared in front of people. So many people had only heard of his name and had never seen him in person. "This is Zhuge Mingyang's great-grandfather, Zhuge Nanhua. I don't know what happened, but he suddenly came to find me and insisted that I strip him naked and send him to the central square. I have no choice but to do as he said." The seal looked very helpless and withdrew his emperor's might. Zhuge Nanhua screamed and fell in the middle of the square with a bang. "You guys take your time to appreciate it." The seal laughed and opened a teleportation gate to leave. Zhuge Nanhua. He is a respected senior of the Zhuge family and the hall master of the law enforcement hall. How could he do such a thing? He's so old and he's still naked. Doesn't he know shame? Everyone surrounded him, their eyes full of disdain. Under everyone's gaze, Zhuge Nanhua even had the heart to die. Especially when he heard everyone's discussion, he wished he could find a hole to hide in. But now, he did not dare to get up, because once he got up, some parts that should not be exposed would be revealed in front of everyone. This was even more humiliating. Who will save me? He looked helplessly at the crowd around him, but no one came forward. Those women even avoided him, their faces full of disgust. Wait, there seems to be words on his back? Someone was surprised. A middle-aged man walked forward curiously, looked at the bloody words on Zhuge Nanhua's back, and read, I am an old hooligan. I am an old beast. I am an old undying bastard who grew up eating feces. The middle-aged man was dumbfounded when he read the last sentence. The others also looked at each other in dismay. Haha, an old undying bastard who eats feces. This is too funny. Everyone actually did not dare to laugh. But there was nothing they could do. It was too funny and they could not hold it in. At the same time, not far from the square, there was a restaurant, Fragrant Moon Restaurant. On the third floor, two young men were sitting in a private room, drinking wine. One of them was wearing a purple robe. His body was tall and straight, and his eyebrows were like swords. His entire body was emitting a threatening aura. But throughout the entire process, he did not say a word. He only cared about drinking, and his eyes were extremely cold. If Qin Feiyang was here, he would definitely recognize him as Zhuge Mingyang. The other person was a young man in a black robe. His appearance and temperament were not ordinary either. However, his cultivation was even stronger than Zhuge Mingyang, an 8-star combat emperor. Behind this person, there was a short man in a black robe. He was silent and his face was filled with respect. These two people were Zhuge Jinghong and Xia Changjin, who had repeatedly challenged Qin Feiyang. Zhuge Jinghong drank his wine while looking at Zhuge Mingyang. Seeing that Zhuge Mingyang did not say a word, he could not help but raise his eyebrows. Then, he put down his wine cup and looked at Zhuge Mingyang. He sighed and said, Mingyang, victory and defeat are common. You don't have to do this. You don't understand. I can lose to anyone, but I can't lose to Qin Feiyang. But now, I have already lost to him twice. How can I endure this? Zhuge Mingyang clenched his fists, and his eyes became more and more cold. I understand, but you can't give up on yourself like this. You still have a long way to go. In the future, there will definitely be a chance to find him and avenge your humiliation. Zhuge Jinghong said. Yes, and Senior Jinghong will also do his best to help you. Xia Changjin smiled flatteringly. Chapter 1342. He wasn't that great in the first place. Otherwise, why didn't he dare to accept your challenge? From what I see, if he didn't have the castle, he's nothing. Xia Changjin snorted, his face full of disdain. But, hearing their words, Zhuge Mingyang didn't feel comforted at all. Instead, the anger in his heart became even stronger. Qin Feiyang wasn't that great? Qin Feiyang wasn't anything? Then what was he, the person who lost to Qin Feiyang, considered? He wasn't even worth shit? Zhuge Jinghong and Xia Changjin wanted to comfort him, but in Zhuge Mingyang's ears, it felt like they were humiliating him. Zhuge Jinghong saw that the situation wasn't right and hurriedly explained, Don't misunderstand. We didn't mean that. Even if you mean that, I don't care. Anyway, in this life, I won't be his opponent. Zhuge Mingyang laughed at himself. He picked up the wine jar on the table and started drinking. He didn't say that there was still the slave seal. Even if he trained hard and surpassed Qin Feiyang, as long as the slave seal was there, he wouldn't be able to turn the tables. Gotcha. Looking at Zhuge Mingyang's self-deprecating appearance, Zhuge Jinghong clenched his fists tightly. His killing intent towards Qin Feiyang became even stronger. Dong! Suddenly, there was a hurried knock on the door. Zhuge Jinghong looked at the door and let go of his fists. He said coldly, Come in. Clang. The door was pushed open, and a waiter hurriedly ran in. What happened? Zhuge Jinghong frowned. The waiter said, Young masters, something big happened. Quickly go to the square. What big thing? Zhuge Jinghong stood up and looked at the waiter in shock. You, the waiter stuttered. Speak. Zhuge Jinghong said angrily. The waiter's eyes trembled and said, Your foster father was stripped naked and thrown on the square. Now, many people are watching. What? Zhuge Jinghong's expression changed. Zhuge Mingyang also stood up abruptly. The wine jar in his hand fell to the ground and shattered into pieces. Xia Changjin was dumbfounded. Who was Zhuge Nanhua? That was the hall master of the inner hall of the enforcement hall. His authority was monstrous. Someone actually dared to strip him naked and humiliate him in public? Who was so bold? Was he tired of living? The next moment, Zhuge Jinghong and Zhuge Mingyang rushed out of the window. Seeing this, Xia Zhangjin took out a few hundred gold coins, threw them on the table, and hurriedly chased after them. The three of them were in a private room at the back of the Fragrant Moon brothel, so they couldn't see the situation in the square. However, the Fragrant Moon brothel was just across the street from the square. With their cultivation, they would be able to enter the square in the blink of an eye. When they saw Zhuge Nanhua, who was squatting on the ground with a helpless expression on his face, Zhuge Mingyang and Zhuge Jinghong instantly burst into overflowing anger. "Godfather! Great-grandfather!" The two of them roared and landed beside Zhuge Nanhua at lightning speed. Zhuge Jinghong immediately took out a piece of clothing and wrapped Zhuge Nanhua up. Seeing Zhuge Mingyang and Zhuge Jinghong's arrival, the surrounding crowd immediately shut their mouths and retreated in fear. "Godfather, what's going on? Who did this?" Zhuge Jinghong squatted on the ground, grabbed Zhuge Nanhua's shoulder and roared with bloodshot eyes. However, Zhuge Nanhua was like a fool. He shrunk his head and glanced at the surrounding crowd. His face was filled with fear and panic. "Haven't you embarrassed yourself enough? Quickly take him and leave first." An angry voice sounded in the sky. Everyone looked up and their pupils suddenly shrank. They didn't know when the Grand Tutor had also arrived. Zhuge Jinghong and Zhuge Mingyang looked up at the Grand Tutor. Then, they carried Zhuge Nanhua, opened a portal, and hurriedly left. "Little bastard, you've gone too far," the Grand Tutor muttered. The murderous intent in his heart was about to go out of control. After the Grand Tutor left, Xia Changjin walked out of the crowd and glanced at the bloodstains on the ground. His face was filled with shock. Who exactly was the person who humiliated Zhuge Nanhua? Was he not afraid of death? There was no suspense. This matter quickly became the talk of the town. Everyone knew about it. When the people of the Zhuge family received this news, they were also furious. Especially Zhuge Wuho. He directly spat out a mouthful of old blood and cried to the sky. The reputation of the Zhuge family was gone just like that. Bright Sky Palace. After so many days, there was no change at all. In the garden, the green grass swayed with the wind. It was full of vitality. Flowers bloomed one after another, attracting countless colorful butterflies and bees. Qin Feiyang stood in the sky above the palace and glanced at everything. Everything seemed so calm and peaceful. However, there were always a few reckless people who came to destroy the good atmosphere here. Outside the garden, in a small green forest, a few figures were sneaking around. Without thinking, he knew that they were the people sent by the emperor to monitor him. However, Qin Feiyang ignored them and rushed into the main hall like lightning. When he entered the main hall, he was immediately stunned. He saw Fatso sitting on the throne at the top of the main hall with his legs crossed, drinking wine and eating melon seeds at the same time. He looked very spirited. Wang Yangfeng and the others were also like this. The whole room was filled with the smell of alcohol. "Young master." Suddenly, Wang Yishan saw Qin Feiyang standing at the door and was shocked. He quickly threw away the wine cup. "Young master? Boss?" Fatso, Wang Yangfeng, and the others were stunned. They turned their heads and looked. They all got up and hid the wine cup behind them. "Not bad. All of you know how to enjoy yourselves." Qin Feiyang glanced at the crowd and said with an indifferent expression. Wang Yangfeng and the others looked at each other, quickly put down the wine cup and ran towards Qin Feiyang. They were all panicking. "Young master, we were wrong." When they came in front of Qin Feiyang, the group of people lowered their heads like a group of children who had done something wrong. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but want to laugh. "What's wrong?" Qin Feiyang said with a straight face. "We shouldn't be greedy for pleasure, and we shouldn't be tempted by fatso. We are willing to accept young master's punishment." Wang Yangfeng said. Fatso's face suddenly darkened and he said angrily, "Old Wang, what do you mean by that? When did Fat Lord seduce you?" Wang Yishan said, "You were the one who seduced us. You have to take full responsibility." "That's right. You know that it's our first time in the outside world and everything is new to us. You even encouraged us to drink. You have bad intentions." The others also said with righteous indignation, "You old guys are too unreasonable. Everyone drank the wine and ate the food together. Why is it Fat Lord's responsibility alone? If you have the ability, spit it out." Fatso was instantly annoyed. But when Qin Feiyang glared at him, he immediately shut up. In fact, even without Wang Yangfeng and the others saying, he knew that it must be Fatso's doing. Because Wang Yangfeng and the others were very simple people. If no one instigated them, it was impossible for them to do such a thing. Qin Feiyang retracted his gaze and looked at Wang Yangfeng and the others, saying, "In fact, I don't object to you drinking. After all, everyone drinks wine, including me. But I'm very angry that you drank it this time. Do you know why?" Everyone shook their heads. "Because you're in the palace. There are people everywhere who want to harm you. What if you drink too much and are plotted against?" Qin Feiyang said angrily. "So young master is concerned about us?" Wang Yangfeng and the others looked at each other, feeling extremely touched but also ashamed. Qin Feiyang said, "I hope this won't happen again." "Yes." The group of people nodded respectfully. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled, asking, "Did Fatso tell you about the opportunity to become a god?" "Yes." Everyone nodded. "Then you guys go to the castle. Strive to raise your cultivation to the peak of 9-star war emperor in the shortest time possible, and then comprehend the profound meaning of becoming a god," Qin Feiyang said. "Okay," everyone replied, looking rather excited, because they already knew that the time rules in the castle were different from the outside world. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and sent everyone to the castle. Then, he looked at Fatso. Fatso smiled embarrassedly and said, "Boss, I saw that they were bored, so I asked them to have a few drinks together. There's no other meaning." "Do I look like an idiot to you?" Qin Feiyang walked in front of Fatso and said. Fatso shook his head like he was pounding garlic. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at him. Fortunately, he came back in time. Otherwise, he didn't know what Fatso would do to Wang Yangfeng and the others. He sat on the chair and asked, "Have you found any clues about the disappearance of Lin Yi and the mermaid princess?" "Yes." Fatso nodded. "Tell me quickly." Qin Feiyang didn't have much hope at first, but he didn't expect that Fatso actually found it. Fatso didn't speak. Instead, he took out a letter from his Cosmos pouch and handed it to Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang was taken aback. He took it in his hand suspiciously, opened the envelope, and took out the letter paper inside. There was a line of small words written on the letter paper. "And we are fine, don't worry." But there was nothing else except this line of small words. Fatso said, "You and Lin Yi have been together for 5 years. You can be regarded as childhood sweethearts. You should be able to see that this is her handwriting." Qin Feiyang nodded. These words were indeed written by Lin Yi. Qin Feiyang looked up at Fatso and asked, "Where did you find this?" "At your home in Iron Ox Town." At that time, Old Wang and I searched all over the 9 provinces, but we didn't find any clues. So, we went to Iron Ox Town. Because I thought that if Lin Yi would leave a clue, she would definitely choose to stay in Iron Ox Town. After all, that's where she grew up. But in the end, there was no harvest in Iron Ox Town. Then, I took Old Wang and the others to the courtyard by the lake. I was going to give up, but when I entered the hall, I immediately found this letter on the table. I also know Lin Yi. I recognized her handwriting, so I came back with this letter. Fatso said. In other words, after we left, she went to the lake to find us? Chapter 1343. Do you think so? Fatso frowned. Otherwise, Qin Feiyang asked rhetorically. If Lin Yi didn't go to him, why would the letter appear in that room? Fat Lord doesn't think so. Fatso shook his head. What do you think? Qin Feiyang asked. Fat Lord thinks that she is deliberately hiding from you. Fatso said. Hiding from me? Qin Feiyang frowned. Yes. She is not only hiding from you, but also from all of us, including Luo Qinxue and Yin Nanshan. The reason is simple. If she is not hiding from us, then she can go to Luo Qinxue and Yin Nanshan and talk to them face to face. Or, she can give the letter to Luo Qinxue and Yin Nanshan and ask them to pass it to you. But she didn't do that. It's obvious that she doesn't want to see us. Fatso said. Qin Feiyang frowned. After a while, he nodded and said, "It makes sense." Then he smiled and said, "Not bad. You actually see the problem so clearly." Fatso said. Fat Lord thought for a long time before he figured it out. Qin Feiyang said, "Then why doesn't she want to see us?" Fat Lord is also puzzled by this question. It's reasonable that Lin Yi doesn't want to see you. After all, your relationship with her is complicated. But the mermaid princess is deeply in love with you, and you have feelings for the mermaid princess. Normally, if she is going somewhere, she will definitely find a way to tell you so that you won't worry. But she actually left without saying a word like Lin Yi. What's the problem here? Fatso frowned. After pondering for a long time, Qin Feiyang let out a long sigh and said, "No matter where they are now, as long as they are safe." Fatso nodded. Qin Feiyang took a deep breath and calmed the restlessness in his heart. He asked, "Did Lu Xingchen look for me these past few days?" "Yes. It's not just Lu Xingchen. The state preceptor also sent Yinwei to look for you every day, but Fat Lord replied to them according to your instructions." Fatso smiled. "What about Xinmei?" Qin Feiyang said. "According to Lu Xingchen, the state preceptor has been personally watching over Xinmei these past few days. Moreover, he hasn't left her side at all, so he hasn't been able to find an opportunity. And he looked for you because he wanted you to help him come up with ideas." Fatso said. "Watch over them personally?" Qin Feiyang was startled. He shook his head and said with a smile, "This old guy has learned to be smart this time, but it's useless." "Yeah. Until now, he still doesn't know that Xinmei can't threaten us at all. And he has always thought that the person who has been spying on him these past few days is you. But it's actually Lu Xingchen." Fatso sneered. "Lu Xingchen has been spying on him all this time?" Qin Feiyang was surprised. Fatso nodded. Qin Feiyang pondered and said, "In that case, Xunmei is now out of danger." "Are you kidding? With the state preceptor personally watching over her, how could he save Xinmei? And I heard from Yinwei that the state preceptor has been using his divine sense to cover the place where Xunmei is imprisoned. As long as Lu Xingchen enters with a spatial divine item, he will immediately be discovered." Fatso said. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and said with a smile, "No, no, no. The state preceptor left just now." "What?" Fatso was shocked. Qin Feiyang briefly explained what had happened in the pagoda. Fatso was dumbfounded. He had caused such a big commotion the moment he came back. However, this was more like his boss's style. Fatso gave him a thumbs up and gloated. Zhuge Nanhua has an important position in both the Zhuge family and the temple. Now that such a thing has happened, everyone in the Zhuge family must be mad. It's best if one or two of them die from anger. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and then said, "But why hasn't the seal returned yet? It's been so long. Could something have happened?" "Speak of the devil." Whoosh! The seal rushed into the main hall like lightning and shouted, "Boss Qin, something bad has happened. Boss has drunk too much and is acting crazy in the inner city." "Acting crazy? What nonsense are you talking about? Isn't boss doing well here?" Fatso frowned. "The boss it's talking about is not me, but Lei Bao." Qin Feiyang said. "Lei Bao?" Fatso was stunned, and then there was a trace of disdain in his eyes. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Don't bother about it. In the few days you were away, it has been causing trouble in the imperial city every day. If you don't let it suffer a little, it won't know how to restrain itself." "Don't you like to cause trouble too?" Qin Feiyang was speechless. They were all the same. What right did he have to criticize others? "Can I be the same? At most, I'll drink here, but what about it? You don't know how it has been tormenting these few days." Fatso was dissatisfied. "What did you do?" The seal looked at him curiously. At first, it was causing trouble in the imperial palace, and the targets were all concubines and princesses. It either peeped at them bathing or stole their underwear. Those concubines and princesses have come to you more than once to reason with you. The most outrageous thing is that it even stole the imperial empress's underwear and openly took it to the treasure pavilion to auction. You didn't see it. When the emperor heard about this, his nose was crooked from anger. Fatso said in disdain. The seal and Qin Feiyang looked at each other. Stealing the Imperial Empress's underwear to auction? This bastard is too immoral. Qin Feiyang asked, Does the treasure pavilion dare to auction it? Of course not. That's the Imperial Empress's underwear. Who dares to play with it? But that guy relied on its strength and directly occupied the auction house, forcing everyone to bid. In the end, it was auctioned at a high price of 300 million. Fatso said helplessly. Qin Feiyang's face twitched. 300 million for a piece of underwear? That's crazy. After causing trouble in the Imperial Palace, it went to other major cities to cause trouble. In short, every place it went to would be chaotic because of it. Now, it's notorious. When everyone sees it, they can't wait to skin it. Fatso shook his head. Although he was a bastard in some matters, compared to Lei Bao, he was thousands of miles away. That's not right. It caused so much trouble. Didn't the emperor think of a way to deal with it? Qin Feiyang was doubtful. Who said that? The emperor sent the commander of the Kirin army to capture it, but in the end, he was beaten up by it. You also know that with its strength, no one can do anything to it except a pseudo-god. And the pseudo-gods in the Imperial Palace are all sealed. They can't undo the seal to deal with it. After all, every time they undo the seal, they will lose some of their lifespan. For pseudo-gods like them who are nearing the end of their lifespan, every minute and second is very precious. Of course, that guy knows his limits. Although it's mischievous, it has never harmed anyone's life. In the end, the emperor had no choice but to turn a blind eye and let it do as it pleases. Fatso said, What about the state preceptor? Hasn't he been looking for a bargaining chip to blackmail me? Qin Feiyang said, You have Yanwei to thank for this. Yanwei told me that the state preceptor actually had plans to deal with Lei Bao, but Yanwei told him that Lei Bao had only been with you for a short time and might not be able to blackmail you. He also said that instead of spending time to capture Lei Bao, it's better to let it cause trouble. Because the more trouble Lei Bao causes, the deeper the grudge between you and the emperor. When the state preceptor heard this, he felt that it made sense, so he didn't make a move on Lei Bao. Fatso said, I see. He has to keep an eye on the state preceptor and clean up Lei Bao's mess at the same time. It's really hard on him. Qin Feiyang sighed. That's right. That's why you should let it suffer a little. Once it has suffered enough, it will naturally become obedient. Fatso snorted coldly. No, if Shunmei has really been rescued by Lu Xingqian, the state preceptor will definitely look for the next target immediately. Qin Feiyang finished speaking and looked at the seal. Didn't I tell you to come back immediately after throwing Zhuge Nanhua at the plaza? Why did you go look for your boss? I didn't specifically look for him. I saw that there was nothing going on, so I wanted to take a look. In the end, I went to the inner city and saw my boss. The seal said. Qin Feiyang frowned. Then why didn't you bring him back directly? I wanted to too, but he's completely drunk now and won't listen to anyone. The seal said helplessly. Qin Feiyang said angrily, How troublesome. Did he go to the Wu Ho government to cause trouble? The seal said carefully, He's currently in a Wu Ho government. I think it's Qin Wu Ho. Qin Wu Ho? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Previously, he killed Qin Wu Ho's biological son, Feng Yun, in the Qin Wu Ho government. Now, Lei Bao went to the Qin Wu Ho government to cause trouble? Was this a coincidence? This is bad. A few days ago, I told him that you have a grudge with Qin Wu Ho. It can't be that he's going to help you deal with Qin Wu Ho, right? Fatso's face changed as he said in surprise, Why can't there be anyone who can stop me from worrying? Qin Feiyang was furious to the extreme and said in a deep voice, Quickly follow me to find him. If Lei Bao really helped him deal with Qin Wu Ho, then he might take advantage of his drunkenness and start a massacre there. Although the various Wu Ho government had basically declined, their status was still there. If Lei Bao really started a massacre there, then the fake god in the back mountain of the Emperor Palace would definitely not sit idly by. However, just as he opened the teleportation gate, a figure appeared out of thin air in the hall. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. He turned his head and saw that the person was Lu Xingqian. Lu Xingqian sized up Qin Feiyang and said in surprise, How many days have you been in seclusion? You have already broken through to the 2-star War Emperor? Isn't your speed a little too fast? He still didn't know that Qin Feiyang's ancient castle had already undergone a change. Likewise, Qin Feiyang smiled faintly with a thought. Wang Yangfeng and the others appeared and said in a low voice, "You guys go with the seal. No matter what, you have to bring that guy back for me?" "Yes." Wang Yangfeng and the others respectfully replied, then followed behind the seal and entered the teleportation gate. Lu Xingchen looked at the backs of Wang Yangfeng and the others, his eyes flashing slightly. He looked at Qin Feiyang and laughed. "There's a group of top-grade fierce beasts by your side. It must be a headache." His words carried a hint of schadenfreude. Obviously, he had already guessed what Wang Yangfeng and the others were going to do. "No, on the contrary, I like them a lot, because although they are bastards, they are loyal to me." Chapter 1344. Fatso stood behind Qin Feiyang. Lu Xingchen walked to the front of the chair and sat down. He looked at Qin Feiyang and smiled. "Actually, I'm quite envious of you." "Envious of me?" Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked. "Envious of you having such a group of loyal subordinates." Lu Xingchen said, "Don't you have them too? What's there to be envious of?" Qin Feiyang smiled. "This is different. My subordinates are basically my descendants. It's natural for them to be loyal to me. But your subordinates are all strangers who you met by chance, but they are loyal to you. This is the fundamental difference." Lu Xingchen shook his head and sighed. "Then do you know where the source of this difference is? Although they are working for me, I treat them as friends and family, but you treat them as your real subordinates." Qin Feiyang said. "Friends, family." Lu Xingchen muttered to himself and then laughed. "You were born in the royal family. It's impossible that you don't know that for people like us, friends and family are too distant." "I agree with that." Qin Feiyang nodded and smiled. He looked at Lu Xingchen and said, "Look at your happy face. You must have encountered something good." "Haha." Lu Xingchen laughed and said, "I have to thank you. If you didn't lure the Grand Tutor away, I wouldn't have found the chance to save Shan Mei." Qin Feiyang was stunned. Did Lu Xingchen think that by humiliating Zhuge Nanhua, he was helping him lure the Grand Tutor away? On one hand, you humiliated Zhuge Nanhua and humiliated the Zhuge family. On the other hand, you took the opportunity to save Shan Mei. This is killing two birds with one stone. Brother Qin, this is a brilliant move. Lu Xingchen gave a thumbs up and praised. Qin Feiyang and Fatso looked at each other. Lu Xingchen really thought so? Lu Xingchen added, "I owe you one this time. If you need anything in the future, just let me know." Qin Feiyang and Qin Haodong were stunned again. They were the ones who planned to kidnap Shinmei. This time, the Mu family's vitality was greatly damaged, and it was also their plan. Now, Lu Xingchen actually wanted to thank them? Fatso chuckled and said, "Boss, isn't this the so-called repaying evil with good? You think too much." Now, Lu Xingchen is thanking us because he doesn't know that all of this is a trap set up by us. If they knew, they would probably want to kill us. Qin Feiyang snickered. However, he had to admit that looking at Lu Xingchen right now made him very happy. In the past, it was Lu Xingchen who schemed against him. This time, he had finally gotten back at Lu Xingchen, and he had even paid him back with interest. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "We are partners. It's only right to help you. Why are you being so polite? You're treating me like an outsider, right?" "Haha." Lu Xingchen laughed happily and said, "It was a wise decision to choose to cooperate with you. Of course. Whether it's you or boss, both of you are as cunning as old foxes. The two of you working together is simply a match made in heaven." Fatso chuckled. But when they heard this, Qin Feiyang and Lu Xingchen's faces couldn't help but darken. Match made in heaven? It seems a bit inappropriate to use this adjective to describe two grown men like them, right? Haha, it's not a good choice of words. It should be said that you're a jackal and a leopard, a perfect match. Fatso snickered. Their faces darkened and their veins bulged. This damn Fatso was getting more and more ridiculous. The Imperial Preceptor has arrived. But suddenly, a loud voice could be heard coming from the outside. "You're here so soon?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. He should be here for Zhuge Mingyang. "I'll leave." Lu Xingchen got up and said. "Leave? Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and said, Shenmei has just been rescued. She must still be very scared now. You'd better go back and comfort her. No need. Shenmei's endurance is not as weak as you said. Lu Xingqian faintly smiled and disappeared without a trace after he finished speaking. Qin Feiyang immediately frowned. Fatso was a little puzzled and said, Boss, why did you ask Lu Xingqian to go back? The Imperial Preceptor will definitely talk about Zhuge Shenfeng later. I don't want Lu Xingqian to know about Zhuge Shenfeng's existence. But this guy seems to have noticed that I'm deliberately hiding something from him. He doesn't plan to leave. Qin Feiyang said secretly. Then what should we do? Fatso said. Act according to the situation. Qin Feiyang secretly said. Then, he looked outside the door and said indifferently, Come in, Dada. Accompanied by a series of steady footsteps, two figures entered the main hall one after the other. It was the Imperial Preceptor and Yin Wei. The Imperial Preceptor looked angry. Yin Wei's eyes were also filled with a strong cold light. Qin Feiyang glanced at Yin Wei, then looked at the Imperial Preceptor and said with a smile, I've been in seclusion recently. Something happened and I can't get up to greet the Imperial Preceptor. I hope the Imperial Preceptor can forgive me. Something happened? The Imperial Preceptor smiled coldly and said, Why didn't I see anything wrong with you when you humiliated Zhuge Nanhua? Looks like I can't hide from the Imperial Preceptor. But why do you have to expose me, Imperial Preceptor? Don't you know that if you're too obvious, it will affect the relationship between both parties? Qin Feiyang said helplessly. Do you still need to protect the relationship between you and me? The Imperial Preceptor sneered. Qin Feiyang said calmly, Since the Imperial Preceptor has said so, I won't stand on ceremony. If the Imperial Preceptor is here for Zhuge Nanhua, please leave. What's with your attitude? Yin Wei shouted. Qin Feiyang's eyes turned cold. He looked at Yin Wei and said, Looks like the lesson I taught you last time wasn't enough. I was careless last time. Try me again if you dare. Yin Wei stared at him, unwilling to be outdone. Haha. Qin Feiyang laughed. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. He said word by word, Are you provoking me? Yin Wei said. Shut up. The Imperial Preceptor shouted. Sir? Yin Wei wanted to say something, but the Imperial Preceptor's face darkened. He said, I'll say it one last time. Without my order, don't say anything. Yes. Yin Wei's eyes trembled. He replied respectfully and went silent. However, when he looked at Qin Feiyang, his eyes were even colder than before. The Imperial Preceptor raised his head and looked at Qin Feiyang. He said, I'm not here for Zhuge Nanhua. He knew. Since it had happened, it was useless to say anything more. The reason for that was because it was impossible for Qin Feiyang to apologize to him for this matter. Furthermore, it was impossible for him to compensate Zhuge Nanhua for his mental loss. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, As long as it's not for Zhuge Nanhua, everything can be discussed. Please have a seat. The Imperial Preceptor glanced at the seat beside him. A hint of anger flashed across his eyes. Ever since the day he became the Imperial Preceptor, other than when he was with the Emperor, he had always been the one sitting at the top, looking down on others. Just like the various Marshal Marquis mansion. As long as he went, the various Marshal Marquis would take the initiative to give up the main seat. And now, Qin Feiyang actually let him sit below. This was a complete humiliation to him. So, rather than suffer this humiliation, it was better to stand and talk. Qin Feiyang said, If Lord Imperial Preceptor doesn't sit, then you are looking down on me. Of course, he knew what the Imperial Preceptor was thinking. But he had the final say. Of course, he did this to deliberately suppress the Imperial Preceptor's arrogance and anger this damned old man. How would this old man dare to look down on you, Qin Feiyang? The Imperial Preceptor chuckled and walked to the seat that Lu Xingqian had just sat on. He sat on it and asked with a smile, Are you satisfied now? Although he was beaming with joy, in fact, he was about to go crazy in his heart. How could he not know Qin Feiyang's purpose? But now, he could only endure. Look at what Lord Imperial Preceptor said. This junior is purely out of kindness. After all, Lord, you are already old. If you stand and talk, This junior can't bear it. Qin Feiyang laughed. The imperial preceptor clenched his hands tightly and said with a smile, "Then shouldn't this old man thank you? No need to thank me. This is what this junior should do. After all, this junior is also a person who respects the old and loves the young. And this junior has also been educating the people around me. When I meet a highly respected old man like Lord Imperial Preceptor, sorry, it slipped out of my mouth. Wait, it's not a slip of the tongue. You see, I'm so excited that I'm a little incoherent. Lord, please don't mind. What this junior wants to say is that when you meet a highly respected old man like you must be respectful," Qin Feiyang said. The Imperial Preceptor's old face was dark, and his veins were bulging. Especially when he heard the old man and Qin Feiyang's self-made excuse, he instantly felt uncomfortable. But there was no other way. He could only swallow his anger now. Whoosh! Taking a deep breath, the Imperial Preceptor loosened his fist and said, "Let's not talk nonsense. Let's get to the point." Okay. Please go ahead." Qin Feiyang nodded repeatedly. The Imperial Preceptor said in a deep voice, "How can I remove Zhuge Mingyang's slave seal and release Zhuge Shunfeng?" Zhuge Shunfeng? Inside the spatial divine item, Lu Xingqian was slightly stunned when he heard the Imperial Preceptor's words. Qin Feiyang also raised his eyebrows. What he was worried about had happened. However, Lu Xingqian might not know who Zhuge Shunfeng was. After all, when the Tianyang Empire was destroyed and Mu Tianyang was suppressed, Zhuge Shunfeng and the Imperial Preceptor were still unknown. The Imperial Preceptor saw that Qin Feiyang was silent for a long time and said impatiently, "Tell me your conditions." Qin Feiyang glanced at him and transmitted his voice to Yin Wei. "I asked you to investigate Immortal He. Have you investigated it?" "Yes, he is now hiding in the law enforcement hall," Yin Wei secretly said. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed coldly. He looked at the Imperial Preceptor and said, "Well, I won't dawdle. I have 2 conditions. First, hand over Immortal He. Second, I want Zhuge Mingyang's divine art and 3,000 incarnations." 3,000 incarnations. The Imperial Preceptor's eyes darkened and said angrily, "Young man, this old man advises you to quit while you are ahead. Don't ask for too much." "Is this too much? I originally planned to exchange your life for it," Qin Feiyang said. The Imperial Preceptor's eyes were filled with murderous intent again. "Lord Imperial Preceptor, as a fake god, you should know that no matter how strong the divine art is, it is just a worldly possession. Can it be compared to Zhuge Mingyang's life?" Chapter 1345. The Imperial Tutor went silent, as if it was difficult to make a decision. Let's not talk about Zhuge Mingyang's talent, let's talk about his comprehension. Before stepping into the war god realm, he was able to comprehend the profound meaning of the divine art, and raise the first and second style of the Azure Dragon secret art to the level of a divine art. "May I ask, are you willing to let such a genius die young?" Qin Feiyang said again. The Imperial Tutor's gaze trembled, and he said in a deep voice, "Even if this old man agrees, the divine art cannot be passed on. How can I give you the 3,000 incarnations? Don't fool me. Although I don't know much, I still know this. The divine art cannot be passed on, because once it is passed on to others, you will lose it. So no one is willing to pass on the divine art to others." Qin Feiyang said, "The divine art is not comparable to the battle art. The divine art, apart from the inheritance, is unique. It means that only one person can have it. Take the 3,000 incarnations, for example. If today, Zhuge Mingyang gave him the 3,000 incarnations, then Zhuge Mingyang himself would lose the 3,000 incarnations. And it would be a complete loss, never to be found again. The same is true. After Qin Feiyang obtains the 3,000 incarnations, if he wants to pass it on to others, he will lose it forever. Therefore, to anyone, a deity art was irreplaceable." Qin Feiyang laughed. "I am very sincere. So please, don't play these little tricks, it's useless." The Imperial Tutor's face sank. In the end, he gritted his teeth and nodded. "Okay, this old man promises you. I will use the 3,000 incarnations and immortal Shan in exchange for Zhuge Mingyang and Zhuge Shenfeng. Qin Feiyang said, Wait, don't get it wrong. I didn't say that I will also give you Zhuge Shenfeng. The imperial tutor was furious. Lord, don't be angry. We also have a bargaining chip, Yanwei said in a low voice. Yeah. The imperial preceptor was stunned, and his anger immediately subsided. He looked at Qin Feiyang with a smile and said, Boy, although the lives of Zhuge Mingyang and Zhuge Shenfeng are in your hands, I also have someone in my hands. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, Are you talking about Xinmei? That's right. The state preceptor nodded. Haha. Qin Feiyang laughed loudly, his voice filled with mockery. What are you laughing at? The state preceptor raised his eyebrows. I'm laughing at your naivety. Yes, I admit that Xinmei can indeed threaten me. But now, why don't you go back and see if Xinmei is still here? Qin Feiyang said. The state preceptor raised his eyebrows. What was the meaning of this? Could it be? His body trembled as he hurriedly looked at Yanwei and shouted, Go back and take a look. Yes. Yanwei nodded and immediately opened the portal and walked in. Qin Feiyang was not in a hurry. He took out a tea set, brewed a pot of tea, and leisurely tasted it. Throughout the whole process, the state preceptor was paying attention to Qin Feiyang's expression. The more he looked, the more surprised he became. The current Qin Feiyang was too calm, and there was no trace of panic at all. Buzz. Half a cup of tea's time passed. The state preceptor took out an image crystal, and Yanwei's image appeared. Yanwei said anxiously, Lord, something bad has happened. Xinmei is missing. What? The state preceptor's expression changed, and he asked, Did you look for other places? Yanwei nodded and said in a deep voice, This subordinate searched everywhere in the vicinity, but in the end, at this point, Yanwei did not need to continue. The state preceptor already understood. He turned to look at Qin Feiyang and said, You can't be so fast. I only left for a while. Haven't you been obedient? Thousands of changes can happen in an instant. It means that many changes can happen in an instant. Qin Feiyang said indifferently, Impossible. Although I just left, I set up a divine power barrier around Xianmei. With your ability, you can't break it. Even if you can break it, you can't do it silently. The state preceptor shook his head in disbelief. Divine power barrier. Qin Feiyang's gaze trembled as he looked at Fatso. Fatso's eyes were also filled with disbelief. Set up a divine power barrier? Everyone knew. Once a divine power barrier was set up, the owner of the barrier would immediately sense anyone who touched it. But why did the state preceptor not notice when Lu Xingqian saved Xinmei? It seemed that he had to find time to ask Lu Xingqian. Qin Feiyang temporarily put aside the doubts in his heart and said indifferently, Nothing is impossible for me, Qin Feiyang. Now let's talk again. Do you still have a bargaining chip? The state preceptor's heart sank. If you don't have any other bargaining chip, then there's no other way. You can only do as I say. Qin Feiyang laughed. Damn it. The state preceptor was so angry that he blew his beard and glared. He turned to look at Yanwei and said, Bring Master Shen and Zhuge Mingyang to me. Yes. Yanwei respectfully responded, and the virtual image quickly dissipated. The state preceptor put away the image crystal, looked up at Qin Feiyang and said, I have changed my mind now. I want to use 3,000 incarnations and Master Shan to exchange for Zhuge Shenfeng. Haha. Lord State Preceptor, are you kidding? You want to exchange Master Shan and Shunju for Zhuge Shenfeng? Qin Feiyang laughed. The state preceptor's face was gloomy. He had already expected this result. Although Zhuge Mingyang's comprehension was really good, compared to a fake god like Zhuge Shenfeng, he was still a little worse. The state preceptor asked, Then what do you want to let Zhuge Shenfeng go? Let me think about this. When I think of something, I will tell you. Qin Feiyang laughed. Then you'd better not make me wait too long. Because you know me. When I lose my patience, I won't even care about my own life, let alone Zhuge Shenfeng. The state preceptor said sternly. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, I know. Don't worry, I won't make you wait too long. But now I am really curious. What kind of face is hiding under your skin? The state preceptor's pupils contracted. It seemed that this little bastard already knew his true identity. Whoosh! Soon, Yanwei, Zhuge Mingyang, and Master Shan appeared in the main hall out of thin air. And when he saw Qin Feiyang, Zhuge Mingyang's eyes suddenly flashed with shocking killing intent. But Master Shun's face was full of horror. However, when he thought of the state preceptor's background, he was full of confidence again. He looked at Qin Feiyang and sneered. I didn't expect that we would meet again after so long. Yes, I also didn't expect that you would rely on the state preceptor again. Are you worthy of those people in the village? Qin Feiyang said. Haha, a wise man submits to circumstances. The state preceptor is a dignified fake god. He is powerful and has a high position. If I don't rely on him, should I rely on you? Do you have this qualification? Master Shan laughed disdainfully. He didn't know that the state preceptor had sold him out. He was showing off his power. The state preceptor coldly glanced at Master Shan, looked at Qin Feiyang and said, I have brought him here. You can deal with him as you wish. Deal with him? Zhuge Mingyang and Master Shan were stunned. What was the state preceptor talking about? Who was he going to deal with? Suddenly, Zhuge Mingyang seemed to think of something and glanced at Master Shan. The people present, except for them, were only Qin Feiyang and Fatso. But he could imagine that it was certainly not Qin Feiyang and Fatso. Then, only their side was left. Yanwei was certainly not. After all, it was Yanwei who brought them here. The state preceptor was naturally even more impossible. So now, only he and Master Shan were left. Although he didn't know what was going on, Zhuge Mingyang believed that the person the state preceptor was talking about was certainly not him. Then only Master Shan was left. In other words, the person who was going to be dealt with was Master Shan. Master Shan quickly realized this problem. He looked at the state preceptor in panic and carefully asked, Your Excellency State Preceptor, who was the person you were going to deal with? You. The state preceptor didn't hide anything and directly said, What? Master Shan's face turned pale and said in surprise, Why? Did I do something wrong? The state preceptor was about to speak. Yanwei disdainfully said, Your Excellency, he is just a dog. Why do you need to explain so much to him? You shut up. Master Shan suddenly became angry. He stared at Yanwei and shouted, You are also a dog. What qualifications do you have to talk about me? I am different from you. I joined the state preceptor and didn't betray anyone. But you betrayed all your people. Yanwei sarcastically smiled, looked at the state preceptor and said, Your Excellency, this person is a villain who only cares about profit. Now he can betray his people. He will certainly betray you in the future. So for this kind of person, don't have any sympathy. It makes sense. The state preceptor nodded and indifferently glanced at Master Shan. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, Hurry up, don't waste everyone's time. Master Shan's eyes trembled. He quickly knelt at the feet of the state preceptor and begged, Your Excellency, I swear that I will always follow you in this life. If I betray you, may I be struck by lightning. Please don't give me to Qin Feiyang, okay? He knew. Once he fell into the hands of Qin Feiyang, there would be no way to survive. However, in the face of Master Shan's pleading, the state preceptor's face was indifferent. He didn't even look at him. Young Master Qin, Your Excellency Qin, I know I was wrong. Please spare my life. I will turn over a new leaf and make up for my previous mistakes. Seeing that the state preceptor was indifferent, Master Shan knew that there was no hope. He crawled in front of Qin Feiyang and knelt on the steps. Pitiful Qin Feiyang. Get lost. Qin Feiyang shouted and directly kicked Master Shan's chest. Bang, bang, bang. Master Shan immediately rolled down the steps like a rubber ball. His nose was bruised and his eyes were swollen. Qin Feiyang looked down at him contemptuously and said, Do you think I can't do anything to you if you follow the state preceptor? Ridiculous. No one in the world can protect the people that I, Qin Feiyang, want to kill. Yes, I was naive. I was confused. I thought I was smart. But now, I really know I was wrong. I beg you, Your Excellency, please spare my dog life. I swear, I will be by your side in the future, like an ox or a horse. His life was at stake. How could Master Shan care about the pain? He quickly got up again and crawled to Qin Feiyang's feet, begging with tears and snot. I feel disgusted looking at people like you. You still want to stay by my side? Are you dreaming? Go find your clansmen and repent properly. Who knows, you might even be able to leave a complete corpse. Chapter 1346. Looking at the disappearance of Master Shun, the state preceptor's eyes couldn't help but surge with a monstrous fury, because he knew that Master Shun must have been sent to the ancient pagoda by Qin Feiyang. The ancient pagoda and everything in it originally belonged to him, but now it became Qin Feiyang's reliance to deal with him. How hateful! The state preceptor was so obvious that Qin Feiyang certainly knew what he was thinking at the moment. With a smile, he said, "Next, please hand over the 3,000 incarnations." What? Hand over the 3,000 incarnations? Zhuge Mingyang's expression changed. He turned to look at the state preceptor and said, "What's going on?" "Give him the 3,000 incarnations." The state preceptor said expressionlessly, trying to control the anger in his heart. Ancestor, Zhuge Mingyang was very anxious. The 3,000 incarnations were his strongest means, and the only chance to compete with Qin Feiyang. Now he was asked to give the 3,000 incarnations to Qin Feiyang. He couldn't accept it. Once he lost the 3,000 incarnations, he would have no confidence to fight with Qin Feiyang in the future. The state preceptor suddenly turned to stare at Zhuge Mingyang and roared in exasperation, "Do you think I want to give him the 3,000 incarnations? But this is the only condition for Qin Feiyang to lift the slave seal. If you don't want to lift the slave seal, you can refuse to hand over the 3,000 incarnations." Zhuge Mingyang's eyes trembled. It turned out that the 3,000 incarnations were used to exchange for lifting the slave seal. He closed his eyes in pain. He didn't expect that he, Zhuge Mingyang, would be reduced to such a situation. He was pressed to the ground without any resistance. The state preceptor sighed, "Child, I know you are unwilling, but you have to remember that where there is life, there is hope." "Where there is life, there is hope," Zhuge Mingyang murmured. Yes, only by staying alive would there be hope for revenge. He opened his eyes and looked at Imperial Advisor before he raised his head to look at Qin Feiyang. He laughed and said, "It's just a divine art. What's the harm in giving it to you?" Boom. His body shuddered as a golden seal flew out from the top of his head. It was emitting an obscure aura with an oppressive aura. The seal was rectangular in shape. It was about 2 fingers wide and 1 finger long. It was entirely pure gold and surrounded by divine light. There were 4 words attached to it, 3,000 clones. That was right. This was the divine talisman of the 3,000 incarnations. Qin Feiyang's eyes sparkled. Puff. As soon as the divine talisman appeared, Zhuge Mingyang spat out a mouthful of blood, his face pale. This meant that he had completely lost this divine art. Whoosh! Following closely, Zhuge Mingyang waved his hand, and the divine talisman turned into a waterfall and flew into Qin Feiyang's head. Immediately, a huge amount of information flowed into Qin Feiyang's mind. Zhuge Mingyang said in a low voice, "I've given you the 3,000 incarnations. Help me remove the slave seal." Although he had given the 3,000 incarnations to Qin Feiyang without hesitation, he was actually very unwilling. He was about to go crazy. "Don't worry. I need to verify it." Qin Feiyang laughed and closed his eyes to feel it carefully. Time passed by. About half an hour later, Qin Feiyang finally opened his eyes. He didn't say a single word of nonsense and directly removed the slave seal. "Although you've obtained the 3,000 incarnations, you still have a long way to go. I won't let you continue to be so arrogant." Zhuge Mingyang glared at Qin Feiyang with resentment, opened the portal and turned to leave. "You're welcome to come again next time," Qin Feiyang said with a smile. Zhuge Mingyang's body stiffened and his eyes burned with anger. "Come again next time? To give you the divine art? That's too much." Seeing that the situation was not good, the Imperial Preceptor quickly turned around and dragged Zhuge Mingyang into the portal and said, "He's deliberately provoking you. Don't be fooled. There's still a long way to go. Let's wait and see." Yanwei glanced at Qin Feiyang and followed him into the portal. The 3 of them soon disappeared. Fatso laughed secretly. "This old yin is really good at acting. If I didn't know him well, I would definitely think that he has turned the act into reality and joined the imperial preceptor. After all, the older the ginger, the spicier it is. You have to learn from him, Qin Feiyong said with a smile. Fatso was not convinced. Swish. At this moment, Lu Xingqian appeared, shook his head and sighed. I've been wondering why Brother Qin didn't kill Zhuge Mingyang back then. So it's because of the 3,000 incarnations. Qin Feiyong said with a smile, Zhuge Mingyang is a treasure in the imperial preceptor's eyes, but in my eyes, he's just a clown. It doesn't matter whether I kill him or not. The #1 prodigy of the imperial capital was actually called a clown by you? Brother Qin's vision and breadth of mind are indeed incomparable to ordinary people. But I agree. Compared to the value of the 3,000 incarnations, Zhuge Mingyang's life is really nothing. Lu Xingqian said with a smile. If Zhuge Mingyang were to hear their conversation, he would probably be so angry that he would vomit blood on the spot. Qin Feiyong smiled faintly and asked, Is there anything else? Lu Xingqian nodded and said, There is a small matter that puzzles me. I heard you mention Zhuge Shunfeng just now. Who is this person? As expected, Qin Feiyong secretly sneered and said, Go and investigate yourself. Anyway, you already know the name Zhuge Shunfeng. It's not difficult to investigate. Wouldn't it be faster if you just tell me directly? Lu Xingqian frowned. Qin Feiyong smiled faintly and said, How can there be such a cheap thing in the world? You're good. Lu Xingqian glared at him angrily, then turned and opened the portal to leave. Qin Feiyong also immediately took out the image crystal and sent a message to Wang Yangfeng. Buzz. Soon, Wang Yangfeng's shadow appeared. What's the situation? Qin Feiyong asked. See for yourself. Wang Yangfeng smiled helplessly. The image crystal changed, and Lei Bao immediately entered Qin Feiyong's line of sight. At this moment, Lei Bao was blocking the door of Qinwu Marquis. Moreover, it was holding a wine jar the size of a washbasin in its arms. As it drank, it cursed at the people inside. Marquis Qinwu was standing in front of the door, his face extremely ugly. As for Wang Yishan and the rest, they were squatting beside Lei Bao, trying their best to persuade him. But Lei Bao was already drunk to the point of being a complete mess and couldn't listen at all. Lei Bao gulped down a few mouthfuls, looked at Marquis Qinwu provocatively, and said, Surnamed Feng, you are a martial marquis? Why are you so timid? You're just like a turtle. Hurry up, don't waste my time. Come and fight with me for 300 rounds. Bastard! Marquis Qinwu was unable to restrain his anger. He raised his head to look at Qin Feiyong's shadow and roared, Aren't you going to control it and let it continue to mess around like this? Boss Qin? Lei Bao also noticed Qin Feiyong, burped and laughed. Boss Qin, Fatso told this emperor that this guy surnamed Feng is not a good person. As long as you say the word, this emperor will immediately flatten this turtle's lair. Son of a bitch. Qin Feiyong's face twitched. This fellow was the first person who dared to call a marquis a son of a bitch in public. Seal anxiously transmitted to him from the side. Big brother, stop messing around. Boss Qin will be angry, Lei Bao said unhappily. This emperor is helping Boss Qin fight for justice. What is he angry about? He should be thanking this emperor. Seal was helpless. This thing wine was really harmful. Lei Bao's body swayed. He stood up and looked at Marquis Qinwu and said, Damn old man, do you dare to accept the challenge? If you don't dare, then hurry up and admit that you're a son of a bitch. Preposterous, preposterous. I must report this matter to His Majesty. Marquis Qinwu was so angry that his face turned black, and his body trembled. It's useless even if you report it to old Prince Tian. Lei Bao laughed disdainfully, his terrifying might exploding out as he pounced towards Marquis Qinwu. Boom. The gate of the Marquis's mansion instantly collapsed. Marquis Qinwu, as well as the guards beside him, were in a complete mess, and a large number of them fell down. Such a big Marquis's mansion. Actually, no one dares to accept the challenge. This emperor is really disappointed. It's not fun. It's not fun. This emperor will go to the Zhuge family. Lei Bao shook his head, swayed his body, and soared into the sky. What? He still wants to go to the Zhuge family? Wang Yangfeng and the rest had a change of expression. Marquis Qianwu was also tongue-tied. The 100 marquis families that had been passed down had almost all declined and were not as good as before, except for the Zhuge family. Although the Zhuge family, compared to its peak, had declined quite a bit, but currently it was recognized as the strongest marquis mansion. Among them, there were super experts like Zhuge Nanhua. Was this Lei Bao really not afraid of death? But thinking about it carefully, it even dared to cause trouble in the imperial palace, so it didn't seem to be a big deal to cause trouble in the Zhuge family. Wang Yangfeng looked at Lei Bao, who was staggering and on the verge of collapse, and frowned. "Young master, what do we do now?" Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered and said, "Let it go." "What?" Wang Yangfeng was stunned. What did this mean? Previously, he had asked them to stop Lei Bao, but now he was supporting Lei Bao? "I might reach the Zhuge family before you all. Hurry back." After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, the faint image quickly disappeared. Wang Yangfeng kept the image crystal and looked at Wang Yishan and the rest helplessly, and could only follow behind Lei Bao and fly back to the Zhuge family. In the main hall, Fatso looked at Qin Feiyang in confusion and asked, "Boss, what do you mean? Are you going to start a war?" "It's still too early to start a war. I just want to use Lei Bao to test the Zhuge family's strength," Qin Feiyang said. "I see." Fatso was enlightened. "Go to the ancient pagoda and continue to help Lu Hong build the herb field," Qin Feiyang said, and sent Fatso to the ancient pagoda. Then, he opened the portal and directly descended on the Zhuge family. Qin Feiyang. The guards of the Zhuge family immediately saw Qin Feiyang, and all soared into the sky. There were more than 100 of them. They surrounded Qin Feiyang in the center, fully focused and vigilant, as if they were facing a great enemy. At the same time, there were also people who immediately informed Zhuge Wuhou. Qin Feiyang glanced at the guards around him. With his hands behind his back, he quietly looked at the house of Marquis below, his face expressionless. "Qin Feiyang, what are you doing in my Wuhou manor?" Suddenly, Chapter 1347. This person was 8 feet tall and burly like a small giant. There was a shocking scar on the left side of his face, exuding a valiant aura. Qin Feiyang glanced at him and looked away. "Bastard, do you know who I am? Do you know where this place is? Get lost if you know what's good for you. Otherwise, don't blame the Zhuge family for being rude to you." Facing Qin Feiyang's disregard, the burly man was furious and shouted, "Noisy!" Qin Feiyang raised his head and looked at the burly man with ruthless coldness. The burly man shrank his neck, and a sense of panic emerged in his heart. "How dare you offend Boss Qin? You must be tired of living." At this moment, accompanied by a playful laughter, a bolt of lightning broke through the air and pounced directly at the burly man. The burly man turned pale and quickly counterattacked. But before he could do anything, he was drowned by the lightning. Blood splattered on the spot and screams resounded through the sky. "Anyone who dares to offend Boss Qin must die." The lightning dissipated and Lei Bao's figure appeared. "Why is this bastard here too?" Seeing the appearance of Lei Bao, the guards were instantly terrified. Who in the imperial city didn't know Lei Bao's name? It was a bastard. Whoever provoked it, no matter who it was, would not have a good ending. This, Seal, Wang Yangfeng, and the rest also broke through the air. Seeing Lei Bao killing people as soon as he arrived at the Zhuge family, their expressions changed drastically. "Young master, let's stop it immediately," Wang Yangfeng said. "No need." Qin Feiyang waved his hand. The group of people was stunned. What did he mean? Did he tacitly allow Lei Bao to kill people in the Zhuge family? However, they didn't ask too much. They landed next to Qin Feiyang and went on full alert. After all, they were in the Zhuge family now. It was better to be careful. Looking at Lei Bao again, after killing the burly man, it grinned at Qin Feiyang and then looked at the surrounding guards. Its fierce eyes were hazy with drunkenness. "Run!" No one knew which guard shouted in horror. Immediately, all the guards turned around and fled. Useless thing. But at this moment, a hoarse voice sounded. Although his voice was hoarse, it was full of energy. Following closely, A violet-clothed old man flashed out from the Marquis estate. He was about 1.8 meters tall. Although he was old, his body was very robust, especially his eyes, which were not turbid at all. They were sharp, spirited, and sparkling. The moment the old man appeared, the guards immediately stopped in their tracks, their faces filled with shame. Wang Yangfeng's eyes narrowed as he sent a voice transmission. "Young master, who is he?" Qin Feiyang said, "He is the current Zhuge Wuhou. From your tone, you seem to be afraid of him?" "I have no choice but to be afraid because he is a 9-star combat emperor. Moreover, judging from his aura, it seems that he is about to step into the peak of the 9-star combat emperor realm." Wang Yangfeng thought to himself, "I didn't expect that old man to have hidden himself so deeply." Qin Feiyang grumbled. A cold light flashed in his eyes as he shouted, "Lei Bao, kill him." "What?" The expressions of Wang Yangfeng and the others changed. They never would have thought that Qin Feiyang would actually give such an order to Lei Bao. Could it be that they were going to start a war head-on? Kill this marquis? Zhuge Wuhou was also stunned. The people of the Zhuge family below were also dumbstruck. At the same time, there were also many people who came to watch the show. When they heard Qin Feiyang's words, they were petrified on the spot. Was this guy crazy? He actually dared to threaten to kill Zhuge Wuhou? Lei Bao was also astonished, seriously suspecting that there was something wrong with his ears. "Didn't you hear me? I told you to kill him," Qin Feiyang shouted. Lei Bao immediately quivered, and his drunken head instantly sobered up. It turned to look at Qin Feiyang and asked, "Are you sure?" Qin Feiyang nodded. "Haha, I can finally start a massacre. Old bastard, die." Lei Bao laughed wildly, bringing along a monstrous might. He pounced towards Zhuge Wuhou. "Qin Feiyang, don't go too far." Zhuge Wuhou was furious. Not long ago, he had humiliated Zhuge and Nanhua in public, and now he was brazenly killing his way into his house. Was he bullying his Zhuge family? Boom. He took a step forward, and the emperor's might roared in all directions as he threw a punch at Lei Bao. "You overestimate yourself." Lei Bao smiled contemptuously, stood up like a human, and slapped out with his claws. Boom. Crack. Accompanied by a loud sound, Zhuge Wuhou's arm broke on the spot, and blood stained the sky. Then, like a meteorite, he flew out horizontally. The terrifying shockwaves of the battle rolled towards the Zhuge family below. The group of guards from before were the first to bear the brunt of it. Their bodies directly exploded in the air, and blood poured down like a waterfall. Below, the entire Zhuge family's buildings were trembling crazily at this moment, facing the danger of collapse. At this moment, everyone in the Zhuge family fell into a state of panic. Not good. Zhuge Wuhou's expression changed. Previously, he was so angry that he didn't care about the people below. Although the battle between the 9-star war emperor was not as good as the false god, it was still enough to flatten his Zhuge family. He quickly stabilized his body and pounced downwards. "Old bastard, where do you want to go?" However, Lei Bao was like a ghost and instantly appeared in front of Zhuge Wuhou. The power of thunder roared out, drowning the sky. Zhuge Wuhou looked at the Feng Marquis' mansion below him and decisively soared into the sky and roared, "Elders, please quickly come out of seclusion and protect the Marquis' mansion." "Elder." Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered as he scanned the entire Marquis' mansion. Boom. Almost at the same time as Zhuge Wuhou's voice fell, a terrifying emperor's might erupted from the ground in the center of the Marquis' mansion. Whiz. Following closely, 10 figures flew out from the ground and appeared in Qin Feiyang's line of sight. Among these 10 people, there were men and women. They all looked old, but the aura they emitted was extremely terrifying. They are all 9-star war emperor. Wang Yangfeng swept his gaze across them one by one and whispered to Qin Feiyang, "Not bad. A mere martial marquis' mansion has so many war emperor." Qin Feiyang muttered. At the same time, the 10 great clan elders looked at Qin Feiyang and the others, killing intent flashing in their eyes, and then they attacked at the same time. The emperor's might roared in all directions, and instantly dissolved the battle fluctuations that were surging towards the Marquis' mansion. With the 10 great clan elders present, Zhuge Wuho no longer had any misgivings and let go of his hands and feet. Arrogant bastard, I will definitely kill you today. He raised his head and roared. His battle chi surged, and a black moon rose into the sky. His divine might rolled across the horizon, crushing the power of thunder and smashing it towards Lei Bao. This is Qin Feiyang's pupils constricted. The first move of the eclipse moon, Black Moon. Wang Yangfeng and the others also sucked in a breath of air. They never thought that Zhuge Wuho would also obtain this kind of inherited divine art. Black Moon, you really make me miss you. Lei Bao laughed, and a purple sea of thunder rushed out from his back like a raging wave, and a purple eye appeared out of nowhere. This is his battle soul, Eye of the Thunder God. Wang Yishan and the others were excited. Previously in the reincarnation ocean, they had already seen the Eye of the Thunder God. Although it could not be compared to a divine art, the Eye of the Thunder God's innate divine ability could almost compete with a divine art. Old bastard, come on! Lei Bao roared. The Eye of the Thunder God trembled in the void, and with a wave of thunder, it roared towards the Black Moon. What's going on? It actually did not activate its innate divine ability. Wang Yangfeng and the others' faces changed. Although the Eye of the Thunder God was terrifying, only by activating its innate divine ability could it compete with a divine art. What was this guy doing? He was too arrogant. Qin Feiyang stared at Lei Bao, and his eyes were also flickering. Suddenly, his eyes flashed, and a trace of a smile crept onto his face. The originally aggressive Lei Bao suddenly retreated, and with the Eye of the Thunder God, he turned around and slipped away. Boom! The Black Moon carried with it the power to destroy the world as it blasted towards the Zhuge family below like lightning. So that's how it is. This guy is really treacherous. He actually wants to use Zhuge Wuho's divine art to destroy the Zhuge family. If its evil plan succeeds, Zhuge Wuho will probably go crazy with anger. Wang Yangfeng and the others suddenly understood, and there was a trace of a smile in their eyes. Damn it! Zhuge Wuho also realized Lei Bao's goal, cursed angrily, and quickly dispersed the Black Moon. But now, it seemed that it was too late. Don't! Zhuge Wuho roared in despair. Qin Feiyang, you have completely angered this old man. All of a sudden, an angry roar exploded, and the imperial tutor appeared out of thin air. Qin Feiyang's expression changed, and he sent a sound transmission. Lei Bao, come back quickly. Hearing this, Lei Bao glanced at the imperial tutor, then immediately turned around and rushed towards Qin Feiyang. What a joke. With the imperial tutor personally here, if he didn't escape quickly, he would definitely lose his life. Just as Lei Bao was escaping, the imperial tutor raised his old hand and waved it lightly. A wave of supreme power appeared, and the Black Moon instantly disintegrated. Following that, he raised his head and looked at Qin Feiyang. Boom! A monstrous divine might appeared, like a huge wave. It covered the sky and covered the earth as it rushed towards Qin Feiyang and the others. Qin Feiyang did not panic at all. His hands were still behind his back, and he said indifferently, "Are you sure you want to make a move against me?" The threat was not concealed at all. The imperial tutor's body stiffened, and he instinctively retracted his divine might. But then, killing intent shot out from his old eyes as he sneered. This old man's patience has reached its limit. Don't try to threaten me anymore. The divine might appeared once again, drowning out the sky as it pounced towards Qin Feiyang and the others. Qin Feiyang obviously knew that the imperial tutor would not give up so easily this time. What he said just now was not to threaten the imperial tutor, but to buy time for Lei Bao. At this moment, Lei Bao had already rushed in front of him. Qin Feiyang moved his mind, and Lei Bao, Seal, Wang Yangfeng, and the others instantly disappeared without a trace. Obviously, they were all sent to the castle. Try to kill me if you can. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly and was about to enter the castle. Something bad has happened. You two stop. But at this moment, the commander of the Kirin army and the head eunuch both flew over, their faces full of anxiety. Qin Feiyang and the imperial tutor raised their eyebrows at the same time and turned to look at the two. The commander of the Kirin army and the head eunuch panted as they flew in front of Qin Feiyang. The head eunuch immediately looked at the imperial tutor and said, "Imperial tutor, come over quickly. I have something to talk to the commander of the Kirin army." The imperial tutor frowned more and more. "It's urgent, hurry. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.